take this job blindly. He was defensive coordinator under Jimbo Fisher before he took the Duke job. He is their new head coach. He was introduced yesterday, and here is his vision for Texas A&M.
My vision for this program is very simple. Okay, we are going to build the premier football program in the country. Okay, we are not going to talk about it anymore. We are going to be about it. We will become the absolute best version of ourselves as quickly as possible, because the best version of Texas A&M football wins the national championship. The best version of Texas A&M football, our way, wins the national championship.
So a lot of people were a little bit surprised that he kind of went ahead and embraced national championship hopes, and I'm like, you basically have to. You're going to get fired if you don't win one.
Yeah.
I mean, so you may as well embrace it, right? I mean, you may as well stand up.
Well, and I think he believes that he can win a national championship there. He won 9 games at Duke last year, probably would have won 9 if they would have stayed healthy this year. And now you've got the resources to do any and everything that you need to do. He's been there before. And, look, coaches have a lot of confidence. They've got egos. I mean, I truly believe he believes he's going to win a national championship.
They're paying him $7 million a year. He gets $1 million bonus if they make the college football playoff. That's not that undoable. I mean, they've had teams that are very close. They've had a team that would be in, and a couple teams that would be in, and some other teams that are close.
So, yeah, 2012 would have been there, and 20 would have been there.
Yeah. So, you could have gotten $1 million. If they're in the quarterfinals or they win the conference title, $1.5 million, $2 million to be in the semifinals, $2.5 million to be in the championship game, and if he wins it all, $3.5 million.
I love this. I love guys being incentivized, and it's well worth it. 3.5 is a big number to win a game, but it's well worth it for Texas A&M.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, would you reap $3.5 million or more if you win a national championship? Of course you would.
Right.
So why not give the guy the bonus for that? And importantly, $11 million for his salary pool for assistant coaches. So he'll have a lot of money to spend on his assistants. But, again, A&M can't do it without being cringy. So Elko gets introduced, and then Rockstar, they do the Scott's told me what this is called. I can't remember what
is that R.C. Slocum front and center? With his back turned?
Could be. It kind of does look like R.C. I don't know why we would recognize him from behind, but I kind of do. What do they call this, Scotty?
I'm not sure what the name of the song is, but it's Saw Varsity's Horns Off.
Saw Varsity's Horns Off, of course. That's very Texas A&M. So if we hit it, Rockstar, here's what it is. RC, get after it.
His jacket's up on for dear life.
So cringy.
Man, I don't know. I told you guys before that I think this would be the job if I could take any in college football, but I don't know if I could take it based on that.
I'll remind you, he's making $7 million a year.
I get it. True story. When I moved back from California and we came back and we were booking one final year in Tuscaloosa, I worked at Lone Star Steakhouse during the day.
Would you solve our horns off?
I just needed another job or at least something to at least remotely look like I was doing something in Tuscaloosa. And at Lone Star, I don't know if you guys remember this, if you worked the night shift, people danced. They would play country music, and it was like line dancing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so when I found that out, I was like, I can only work days.
Sorry, I'm tied up at nights.
I'm not pulling an A&M.
So, like, they would just start music, and all the servers would get together and line dance.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I'd have paid money to see you do that.
Yeah, it would never happen.
I mean, I'd have doubled my tip easily.
Never happened.
Yeah.
That is awful, though. Completely awful.
Again, $7 million a year to do it.
And you know who was into it the least? Was Ross Bjork.
Yeah, the athletic director.
Did you see at the end?
Yeah.
He looked miserable.
Yeah, he had zero interest in doing that. Harbin's Outdoors. Tell us about Harbin's Outdoors as Scott once again shows you sawing Varsity's horns off.
Look,
by the way, they didn't waste a whole lot of time on lyrics on that song. I think they just sing that phrase over and over again.
Yeah, and look, and Elko tried to act like he knew the words. Yeah. I know he's been there before, but he does not know the words. Our good friend Jeremy Harbin, not only does he do incredible work, also a good dude. I had a friend, met him over the weekend. He was like, that's the kind of guy you want in the foxhole with you. Harbin's Outdoors, award-winning landscape company. They do it all from the install, lighting, final hardscapes around the pool, everything in between. It's beautiful work. You can find them on Instagram.
Jim Dunaway.
Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
And we're live at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready for the SEC Championship. Ryan Brown, Emily Grace McWhorter, Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor there in our Disrupt Media studios in Birmingham. Our SEC coverage all day and all weekend being brought to you by our great sponsors like Southern Rubber Tire, southernrubbertire.com. Brian Gilmer and the gang downtown, locally owned for a long, long time, 50 years, in fact, for all your automotive needs. Wayne's Pest-Free holidays come your way when you go callwaynes.com, callwaynes.com. And, of course, our friends at Roback.com. Remember, 20% off your purchase when you use the promo code TNR20. All right, folks, we're ready to go. SEC Championship Eve. The teams are here. We're getting ready for walk through over at the Benz, as they call it here locally.
I heard that on the radio coming in.
Not your first SEC Championship.
Nope.
LT, Brownie, and me, we've done this many times. How excited are you for Alabama-Georgia?
It is going to be so much fun. After last week, setting up for this week now, I'm just thrilled to be here.
Yep. Brownie, you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's kind of cold and rainy here, but I'm sure there'll be a nice little buzz tonight.
Yeah, drizzly day here in Atlanta. LT, you hinted last night on Bud Light game night, a little chaos could be brewing thanks to the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, right now, do you guys really have a lot of confidence in Florida State? I know Florida State is campaigning. They are one of the 4 best teams in college football. The College Football Committee has them at number 4. But I think they've got their hands full with the Louisville Cardinals. We'll see how this thing works out. They're a different team with Jordan Travis. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
We got a little tidbit as we got to Atlanta today. There are some reports from some of the folks close to Florida State that they may not even have QB2 in this game.
Yeah, Lance, that's what they were talking about on Atlanta Sports Radio, reports/rumors. Sometimes there's a murky line between reports and rumors. That Tate Rodemaker may not be available for Florida State. Now, you saw him go out of the Florida game. The backup, the third teamer, who I think, Lance, they think might be the future there after Jordan Travis, came in. But, boy, that is another twist. We'll ask Ferman if he's heard anything a little bit. Lance, I don't know if you've heard anything, but that'd be a heck of a twist there.
Well, you know, watching, and we backed Florida State minus the 6.5. We're fortunate to get home against Florida this past week, but Rodemaker went down with what looked to be a concussion. And so QB3, true freshman, and you're right, they believe he is the future in Tallahassee. Warming up on the sideline, I heard he looked great. He looked confident, and the moment didn't seem too big. Now, going into this game, if he knows he's potentially the starting quarterback against Louisville on this stage, knowing that all the pressure is there to possibly get them to a college football playoff, that would make me like Louisville a little bit more. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, Louisville is a really good run team. They seem to be well coached. I think they're better than the respect they're getting because their schedule has been very weak. But Florida State, not only do they have to win the game, some people think they've got to, get some street cred with the committee a little bit.
Yes, I think that if they want to make a name for themselves, this is the game to do that. I think we've said that multiple times at FSU. It has to be the game to make a statement. They can't win it. They've got to blow it out.
Well, Lance, you think it's going to go the other way, but, I mean, if EG is right here, if they got to blow it out, give me a blowout.
Well, we talked about it last night, Bud Light Game Night from Crestwood Tavern, that teams this weekend will look to make statements. It's not just about winning the game. I agree with EG. I think if Mike Norvell gets an opportunity, they will put pedal down and they will try to win this game by double digits going away. I just don't see it. This is an interesting number. Louisville is looking for their 11th win, which Jeff Brom in his first season in the ACC would join only 2 other ACC coaches in the conference's history to win 11 games in their first season in the ACC. One is obvious.
Bobby Bowden?
Bobby Bowden.
Okay, woo.
Yeah.
But he says obvious.
I know. I'm afraid to answer that.
I better not miss this one.
Well, Bobby Bowden, I mean, they came rolling into the ACC, and they couldn't lose until that Thursday night with Tiki Barber. We all remember that game.
Yeah.
And then the other coach, I'll give you the year, 2007. EG, if you get this right, I'll peel you off 100 right now.
I'm going to let you guys take this one. I was 6 in 2007.
Yeah.
No, don't start that
I know,
crap.
sorry.
Hey, I'm going to say 2007.
Really
that
good
is
coach
going to
that has been
be
forgotten.
Paul Johnson.
Jeff Jagzinski from Boston College.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the old
So
Matt
the
Ryan
ACC
days.
is part of a crazy weekend that could get a little crazier if Alabama beats Georgia over here at the SEC Championship. We'll break down that game throughout the day. Coming up, Charles Barkley in our next segment. Charles Barkley reacting to 4th and 31 for the first time. You'll get that coming up in the next segment. Todd Ferman from Vegas, Mike Griffith, who is here in Atlanta, covers the Dogs and the SEC. He'll be with us in the final hour of the show. Let's jump into what we saw last night in the NFL before we get to Barkley and back to college football. Brought to you by our friends at MyBookie.
MyBookie.ag, code next round is where you go, and you can play every single game, including the game we're about to talk about, which was played last night. You could have played it right there at MyBookie.ag, and had you listened to Lance, you would have won right there at MyBookie.ag as the Seahawks get inside the number and that Cowboys win. Play the championship games coming up this weekend and tonight. MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. Make that initial deposit. They do a 50% match up to $1,000. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Code next round.
LT, I had the over and the Cowboys. I got the over part, nailed it perfectly, 41-35. But LT, the Seahawks, like you projected, got inside that number. Really entertaining. Maybe the best Thursday night game I've seen in a while as I kicked back and watched that one last night. Dak Prescott played well with 3 touchdowns and right at 300 yards passing. Big game, LT, for that one last night.
Yeah, big game. I thought the number was too big at 8.5. The Cowboys have now won 14 consecutive home games for the 5th time in NFL history. Neither team punted in this game, so you were all over the over. Never had to sweat that. But I'm telling you, the narrative would be so different today if the Seahawks just would have converted maybe one of those 4th downs. And maybe if you've got 10 Seattle penalties. They were -1 in turnovers. They turned the ball over on downs their final 3 possessions right at midfield, and they missed a 42-yard field goal. I mean, to me, Seattle played right there with them, and the narrative today is, man, Dallas is starting to separate and become one of the best teams in the NFL. If this thing would have flipped, it would have been a disaster for Dallas and a huge win for Seattle. But I agree, very entertaining game, and Dak Prescott is moving up the charts as far as MVP odds right now.
Yeah, 14th straight home win for them. Last time they lost at home was week 1 last year to somebody's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but only the 5th regular season game in NFL history where there were 0 punts. So you saw a little history last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I would have thought in NFL history?
Yeah, only the 5th regular season game with no punts, though. I wonder if they used to punt a lot more than they do now.
I would guess so. Lance, do you remember your Chiefs-Rams game on that Monday night? It seemed like nobody punted that night, but I'm assuming there was a punt in that game.
I don't know if there was. Yeah, I brought that up, that this was the 5th in NFL history. I don't have the list of the others. I don't remember a punt in that game.
Yeah, I don't either. It seemed like everybody scored every time they touched the football. That's a wild stat. And we finally got a good Thursday night game. The Thursday night games have been awful. They've been very low scoring. They've been impossible to watch, but the style of play. And we finally got a good one last night. But boy, these Seahawks are in a whole lot of trouble. It's good for Lance. Got that Rams hat on today. It's good for your Rams, Lance. The Seahawks, that schedule in front of them, that's trouble.
Well, I know you'll
take a go ahead, LT.
Well, I was just going to say real quick, Brown, I know you're pulling for the Rams against the Browns this weekend, but if the Rams do win, they've got the tiebreaker at 6-6 with the Seahawks right now. A lot of football to play, but yeah, that was big for the Rams.
All right, we will get back into the NFL, of course, as the weekend progresses, but it's college football. We're here at the College Football Hall of Fame. We appreciate these fine folks opening up the doors early for us here today. You remember, if you're coming over for the game, it's a great way to spend your pregame on a Saturday, waiting for the 3:00 kick. You can come hang out here at the College Football Hall of Fame and tour the best that we've seen over the years with the Hall of Fame. And we'll talk to Charles Barkley, who has made his way into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So we'll talk to Sir Charles about the sport he loves, college football, his Auburn Tigers, and this SEC championship here in his town now, Atlanta, coming up. Show being brought to you by 2 great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Urology Centers Alabama. UCA has over 35 urologists on hand in 16 locations across Alabama, treating all your urological needs. Guys, it's so important for that early detection. Prostate health, kidney stones, anything in between, they'll take care of you. Visit urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment. And also, JohnstonRVCenter.com, getting you on the road in 2024.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online at JohnstonRVCenter.com. Because you guys have responded so well to what we asked you to do, and that's go support our sponsors. They are loaded up with previously owned recreational vehicles, but a lot of stuff that's almost like new. So you can get a great deal on something very close to a new RV there at Johnston RV. Even their used stuff under 2 years of age comes with a lifetime warranty, so you don't sacrifice there. Just go see what they got, either in person, I-65, exit 304 or 334, or you can go online always, JohnstonRVCenter.com, JohnstonRVCenter.com. They bring you the Saturday preview show. We'll be right back in this spot. Lance will be in Birmingham. We'll do it tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Central, as always, thanks to Johnston RV Center.
Charles Barkley standing by when we come back on the next round live from the College Football Hall of Fame with our SEC coverage being brought to you by our friends at SouthernRubberTire.com, Wayne's Pest Control, call Wayne's.com, and our friends at Roback.com, promo code TNR20 to get 20% off this holiday season. Back in a moment.
Follow Sean Lunsford on Twitter at JLuntz.
Start your holiday shopping at Timberline Golf Club. On November 20th, just ahead of Black Friday, you can get gift cards which make the perfect gift. No need to worry about size, color, or returns. Plus, you'll get more bang for your buck with a Timberline gift card. You buy a $100 gift card and receive a 10% bonus, making that gift card $110. Buy a $250 gift card, that's an 18% bonus, making the card worth $295. A $500 gift card gets a 25% bonus, making it worth $625. Get your free money from Timberline.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Some restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality, service, and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the next round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Charles Barkley coming up in 15 seconds. Right after I tell you, our friends at Alabama Power want to remind you that their app, newly produced in the Apple and Android store, can help you with payments. Also, they can help you know when your power is going to come back on in case of a storm. And you can also find out how your usage is going. It's all easy in the palm of your hand. Just download in the mobile app or go to alabamapower.com/mobile app.
All right, Sir Charles is with us, the Auburn basketball great, as we continue for the College Football Hall of Fame SEC Championship game tomorrow. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Charles? How are you today?
Wait, do I get an RV for being on the show?
What would you do with an RV, Charles? Would you drive it?
You know, they've been trying to get me. No, hell no, I hire a driver. You know what's so funny about that? They've been trying to get me to write another book for like the last 3 years. And I said, my books, when I write them, they're very personal, and I don't do them just for the hell of it. But one idea that me and my friends talked about was for like the next 2 years, probably would take 2 years, maybe 3, get in an RV and go play the best golf course in every state. You know, do like 2 a day and just travel the country, have people pick out the best golf course in every state. It would be interesting, but that's the only reason I'd get an RV.
That would be an incredible reality show. Just following Barkley around the country.
Well, no, just like, you know how much I love golf, but like go to every state, meet some people, but go to the best, because obviously there's a debate on the best golf course in every state. But it would be some fun to do during the summer when I'm not doing anything.
So Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Dunaway.
Lance. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're an Auburn man, Chuck, and you've seen some disappointing losses. You were in Jordan-Hare this past weekend, 4th and 31. Where does that rank on your all-time disappointing losses as an Auburn fan?
Number 2, behind. You remember when we were at the Final Four and we thought we had won the game against Virginia and they called that foul? That's the worst I'd ever felt for the Auburn family until Saturday. And so Saturday was brutal. I mean, there's no other words for it. We played great, but you got to finish the game. But, man, that was heartbreaking because, 1 minute we're going to tear up Tuma's corner and the next week we're going to burn it down. So that was a tough loss.
How much of it is your fan base in that place that makes that game so fun down there?
Well, growing up in Alabama fans are so obnoxious. They talk. They're obnoxious because they act like if they lose 1 or 2 games, it's the end of the world. Every other program with any common sense, to be honest with you, if you're gonna win double-digit games every year and probably 1 out of 3 years win the national championship or play for the national championship, you would be happy with that. But them Alabama fans, so smug and condescending, they act like it's the end of the world. They don't win the championship, which is annoying because they got the greatest coach ever, and they just ingrates. But, man, I love our school. It's always great to go back down there. I had a great weekend as usual. But man, that was hard to get over. I mean, because it was a shock, to be honest with you. Because when we fumbled the punt, we thought we had lost the game. We're like, damn, they're gonna get this game. And then all of a sudden, they make a couple mistakes. The penalty when he crossed the line, they fumbled the snap. We're like, man, we're gonna get away and win this thing. And it's 4th and 31, and you're like, we got it. And then all of a hell, the guy makes a great catch and a great pass, and that was really a difficult loss.
Yeah, when my champagne ran out, I thought of you. I felt bad for you.
Well,
Charles,
listen,
go ahead.
We needed something a little stronger. I'm not gonna lie.
So that was my first Iron Bowl, and I've covered Auburn and Alabama this season. I've been in Bryant-Denny. I've been in Jordan-Hare. And there's something just different about the fan base of Auburn. And to me, it's like Auburn fans are in it from the first snap until the last drive. And Alabama fans, and this is just my observation, it seems like until it's a guaranteed win or a high momentum moment, they're not in the game. Did you sense that too, Charles?
Well, hey, listen, you live in Alabama, so you just repeated what I just said, how obnoxious Alabama fans are. You just can't say that. See, I can say it because I'm all the way out here in Arizona. I can say what the hell I want to say. But, Auburn, man, we love our school. We love our team. We do. Like Alabama, listen, and I've said this before, people like Alabama because they're great at football. They don't like the school. Like at Auburn, we love our school. We're part of a great family. People who like Alabama, you've never heard them say, man, We are a family. We got a great school. First thing they say, man, we're going to win another national championship.
Yeah, because they have real families. They don't have to say that.
Gone away.
Listen, I grew up a Georgia fan, okay? So, Charles, I'm from Atlanta, and I feel like that's how the trend is going for UGA fans. It's turning into, we just like UGA because the drought is over and they're winning championships.
Well, listen, I work with Ernie Johnson, who's the nicest person you ever going to meet in your life. But I got to tell you something. The last 2 years have been hell. He is, he went to Georgia, obviously lives in Georgia. But Ernie went from being the nicest guy in the world. Him and another friend of mine named Jason, they're becoming the most obnoxious Bulldogs fans in the world. And I can't imagine how bad my life's going to be if they three-peat. I mean, I might have to quit my job and say, no, I'm not working with Ernie and not anymore because he would be unbearable if they three-peat.
Charles Barkley is with us, the Auburn great, on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline as we continue for the College Hall of Fame and Birmingham, the College Football Hall of Fame and Birmingham. But one thing about you respect the heck out of Nick Saban, and you respect the heck out of Alabama players that earn respect. I would imagine, knowing you, Charles, Jalen Milroe is one of those guys, a guy that a lot of people were looking for every reason to replace him, and now he might be the reason they got a chance at a national championship.
I really wanted to meet him. I didn't get a chance. I really want to meet his parents because I heard some stuff about them. I think they both were in the service.
Yes, I think so.
And you know how much respect I have, number one, for teachers, but also anybody who's in the service. I admire teachers, anybody who's in the service. And I want to tell his mom and dad what a good young man they raised because, you go back, people live in the moment, but probably longer, about 8 weeks ago, he got benched. And I watched him before the game, and he was jumping around, cheering on the other quarterbacks, showing great energy. And he didn't complain. He just was trying to be a good teammate. And then when Coach Saban says, you know what, I tried it that other way. I'm going back to this kid. We're going to do what he do best. And he just thrived. And if you can't appreciate that, a fan should appreciate it. But as a player, you really appreciate it because sometimes when guys get benched, they become selfish, and then when it's their time again, they're not ready. So that kid, man, I'm really proud of him as a player because I'm always going to be a player first. I mean, obviously I'm a fan now, but all my thoughts always going to be like, what would I do as a player? For him to get off the ground. I mean, because think about it. After the first couple of games, nobody in Alabama wanted him to be the quarterback. And he was struggling. That's part of it. But when he got benched, he came out, and he was a good teammate. But then Coach Saban made the decision, you know what, he's the best we got. Let's make this work. And the rest is history. And you got to give him a lot of credit. We got to give the offensive coordinator Tommy Reeves, a lot of credit. But, man, I'm really proud of that young guy.
Chuck, 2 years ago on this day, we had you on the show. We were broadcasting from Twin Peaks in Atlanta, and we were getting ready for the 2021 version of Georgia-Alabama. Georgia was a 6-point favorite. Georgia is now a 6-point favorite. At that time, 2 years ago, you said Alabama had no shot, and they ended up winning that game 41-24. Where are you going into the SEC championship game tomorrow?
I think that game was a little bit different because Georgia really had nothing to play for, to be honest with you. So you have to factor that in also. And obviously, and they went on and won the championship, correct?
Georgia did, yes.
They did, yep.
Yeah, so they had a free game. So Alabama had everything to play for. So that's a totally different scenario. Man, I will tell you this. I don't like some of the stuff I'm hearing on television by these guys. And I know they get paid to do it, but there's no way in the hell you can leave an SEC champion out of the playoffs. If Alabama wins, they deserve to go to the playoffs. I don't want to hear what Texas did to them 2 months ago. 2 months ago was like a year ago in sports. Well, that was like the first couple games of the year. Your team's not set. Everything's new. But if Alabama wins, they definitely deserve to go. I think they're going to screw Florida State, to be honest with you. whether Florida State wins or loses, they deserve, in my opinion, they deserve to be in. They haven't lost. I know they lost their quarterback, but and I don't know what they were doing. Remember, they were number 5 last week, and then they moved them back up to number 4 this week. And I'm like, well, how did they drop to number 5 last week and move to number 4? Because they didn't look great against Florida. But I'm like, what are they doing? But listen, it's going to be interesting. Because then they're saying that even if Georgia loses, they still get in, which, no, hell no. The way I would do it, and like I say, I'm a novice. I don't act like I know everything about football. Whoever wins tonight between Oregon and Washington's in, whoever wins between Georgia and Alabama, they're in. Michigan in, I mean, because once they get to 10 points, they're going to outscore Iowa once they get to 10 points. So they definitely in. And I think probably Florida State, but it's going to be interesting. If Georgia loses and gets in, or Georgia loses and they don't get an SEC team in, that's crazy.
I wanted to ask you, away from this game, yesterday Deion Sanders got named by Sports Illustrated as the sports person of the year. We know how magical the start of that season was, and then it got tough. I'm sort of like a politician right now in Washington. I'm coming up here to ask you, can you believe Deion they gave him the sports person of the year, but I don't have a person to say maybe it should have been this person. But I will ask you, are you surprised about that cover of Deion Sanders as the sports person of the year, and how did you think the rest of that season played out for Deion? It got a lot tougher.
Yeah, I thought, number one, he was the most interesting thing about the whole college season. Him and Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you think about it. Him and Jim Harbaugh have been the most important stories in college football. No matter who's winning, who's losing, the two most important stories in college football this year is Colorado and Jim Harbaugh. Like people, all these teams are undefeated and whatever. Jim Harbaugh and Deion have been the story about college football all year. And, Deion, at some point, their lack of depth caught up to them. They got off to a great start. And everybody always that's what people don't understand. Everybody kind of, when the season first starts, you got great enthusiasm. Everybody's ready for the season. And then everything settles down, and they couldn't block for Shador. But, it's interesting. I could see a lot of this stuff coming because Deion started out so good, and he started out so flashy. I was saying, these people, now they're kissing his ass right now. But once they start losing, which a guy said all year, they don't have a good offensive line. They had a couple injuries to Hunter. They started losing. I said, they're going to come for Deion because there's a certain amount of jealousy because he's got a lot of commercials. His players got some NIL deals. So you could see it coming that people are going to turn against him once they start losing. But, overall, I think he had a good year. It's going to be interesting going forward because, man, it's such a crazy landscape out here right now with the way that the portal works, the way NIL works. So, I'm not a big NIL guy because I think every school's not going to be able to pay these players. Obviously a lot of these schools, not a lot, I shouldn't say that. Some of these schools are going to be able to afford these players, but a lot of these schools ain't going to be able to pay these players. So, man, I think college sports is going in the wrong direction. The NCAA, they're just a bunch of damn boneheads, idiots, because they're the reason we got this chaos when it comes to NIL. They had to stop. Remember when guys would get an extra pair of sneakers and they would suspend them for a game? If they when they ate, if they got too much food, they would suspend them for a game. And now you got utter chaos with NIL. Matt Rule. Everybody got mad at him talking about how much money he makes. First of all, it's none of your business how much he makes. He was saying it's going to cost $1 million to $2 million if you get a quarterback out of the portal. That's crazy. How many schools can actually afford that? I mean,
with that said, Chuck, Riley Leonard's out there. He's an Alabama native, really good player. Was projected as one of the top 5 quarterbacks before the season started. He got hurt. but Auburn seems to be in the mix. I don't know if it's a taxable write-off for you if you were to cut him a check for $1.5 million, but
hey, let me tell you something. As much money as I give at Auburn, I would kill for to only have to give him $1 million. I would kill for that. So, it's so funny you said that. My question is, how many? So he's probably only if he has a good year, he's only going to be in college for 1 year, correct?
I think he's got 2. Well, if he had a good year, he's probably going to the NFL. But I think he's got 2 years left, eligibility-wise.
See. My concern with Auburn is we got to find a quarterback, and right now we don't have one. Are we gonna get one that we can develop and take our lumps? Or are we just going to keep doing this thing where we bring in one guy for 1 year and have to start over every year? That, to me, is not sustainable. To pay a guy to come in for 1 year, he's going to be new. Everybody's going to be new. And I don't want to keep doing that. I want us to develop our own quarterback. Now, I actually like Leonard a lot. I watched him play early the year before he got hurt. He was playing spectacular. But if we're going to give him not even the money, I don't care about the money. We got plenty of that. But we can't just be bringing quarterbacks in for 1 year. That to me is not sustainable because it's going to be hard enough to be successful in 1 year, but then we're in the same boat next year. That's the problem we got going forward. Thorne came in, he played pretty good, but now we don't have a quarterback for next year, so we're in the transfer portal. Or because I don't know if they have anybody on the staff that they trust. So I don't think it's sustainable to keep bringing in quarterbacks for 1 year. That's not a good plan.
You and Thunder Dan about to go win this thing today? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, man. We're the defending champs at my golf club out here in Arizona, Whisper Rock. I can't wait. It's a 2-day contest, alternate shot. We shocked the world last year. I'm playing even better this year. I can't wait to get out there. But, yeah, we play 18 today and 18 tomorrow. Got about 300 players, and we won our flight last year. Dan's a great player. Dan's like a scratch. I'm a legit 8 right now. I'm playing great, so I'm going to play great this weekend. I've been grinding my butt off for the last month, working so hard. I can't wait to get out there and showcase my game today, brother.
You're down to a single digit. Congrats.
Yeah.
That is hard work.
Yeah, man. I put a lot of time and effort in. I've been working so hard. The weather's been perfect out here in Arizona. It's been about 75 degrees every day. And I've just been grinding. And, man, I'll be disappointed. Number one, I just want to play well. We don't have to win it. I mean, obviously, I want to win it. But if we play great and get beat, I can live with it. I just want to play great because, man, I put a lot of time and effort into this thing, so I can't wait.
Charles, thank you for the time as always. We enjoy talking with you. Good luck in the tournament. Carry Thunder Dan around and go win that thing, all right?
Hey, man, I love you guys. Y'all the best. Hey, war down Eagle.
All right. Love you too, Charles. Thank you. Charles Barkley with us on the Johnston RVCenter.com hotline.
And our coverage from Atlanta, LT, being brought to you in part by our friends at Southern Rubber Tire.
Yeah, Brian Gilmer and the gang got to catch up with them yesterday. They came by and toured our studios, southernrubbertire.com. They carry all major brand tires, financing available. Let them take care of all your automotive service needs. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years. Local tire and automotive store you can trust. Again, for more information, stop by and see them located downtown Birmingham under the big Michelin sign next to Highway 65 on 6th Avenue North, or online, southernrubbertire.com.
Sean is one of our big viewers up there on the Atlantic coast, outside of Ocean City, outside of Maryland, where we were up this summer. He sent me before the show lowest ticket prices StubHub for these championship games this weekend. $38 gets you into the ACC championship.
$38
seems overpriced at this point.
I was about to say that one is close to being one of the ones if it's in my backyard.
I'm gonna let you guess when I get to the SEC, LT, because I know you've been working on that a little bit. Big Ten, $42 to get you in.
42.
Big 12 championship, $45 for Texas and Oklahoma State, right there in Arlington.
Yeah.
It's $45.
$45.
Big stadium, but
It
still,
is.
just $45 right there in Arlington.
Oregon and Washington tonight. Massive showdown in Vegas.
It's a long way from both those campuses.
In Vegas, though, how much do you think it costs to get into that one tonight, EG?
I'm going to go 172.
172 is a great guess. $25.
Oh my gosh.
$25.
$25?
We'll
You
get you,
can't
in.
go
LT,
see-
I know
you
you've
can't
been
go see
working on
the
getting into the
Osmonds.
game here at the Benz in Atlanta. The get-in price, according to StubHub, and I'm sure we can get a better price with our friends at ATIX, but StubHub is the one that put out this story. How much do you think the get-in is?
$4 1/4.
$4 1/4.
I
At
guess.
StubHub, the worst seat in the house is $330. $330.
Yeah, I had to check on some tickets yesterday, and behind the goalpost, down low in the end zone, $775 a ticket.
Wow. So this game is still, and it's always been this way, Brownie. This game has always had staying power with fans.
And Lance, we've talked about this game disappearing. Now, one note is it was announced by the SEC yesterday. They've reached an agreement to keep it at the Benz or here in Atlanta if they build a new stadium, which it seems like they do often. Lance, through what was it done with 2031?
2031 with the option to go through 2036.
Yeah, so Lance, obviously, if they decide to eliminate conference championship games, I'm not saying I think that's a sign that we'll continue to have conference championship games that long, but I do think it shows you how dedicated the SEC. Look at those ticket prices. Now, that's not what they're getting for them, but the demand that they have on this ticket, it sells out every single year. This is a great moneymaker for the conference. I know the expanded playoff will make money, but you'll have to pry this game out of the SEC's cold dead hands.
Oh, and we've seen it a lot being over there and up close and personal, how this is a play-in game to the college football playoff back in the day at BCS. And this year, I think one of the reasons it's such a high ticket is the loser is guaranteed nothing. And even if you're Alabama, you're not guaranteed anything with a win. So This is a massive game. And sadly, and I know there are people like Charles Barkley, and I think you guys don't believe it, but even with a win, this could be the last time we see an SEC team in a 14 playoff.
Say that again. What?
Last year could have been the last time. I'm saying even if Alabama wins this game,
so,
there is a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We're at the College Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to ask you a question, EG and LT, as we do our Woodhouse question of the day, brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. LT.
Yeah, make sure you stop by Woodhouse Day Spa. Go see Stuart, all the fine folks up there. It's just an easy gift for the guy. You don't have to really sit there and overthink it. The wife or girlfriend is going to absolutely love it because at Woodhouse, located conveniently at the Summit Shopping Centers, they've got a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. You can order that perfect gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop by and tell them the next round sent you.
Okay, we were talking about this a little bit earlier.
Okay.
The SEC championship game and all these conference championship games next year with a 12-team playoff. How different will they be, in your opinion, EG?
I think it'll be completely different because the atmosphere will be not what it's been ever because of the 12-team playoff. And we're seeing that with ticket prices today. The SEC loves an SEC championship. And I think we also have to look at geographically. Tuscaloosa is not very far away from Atlanta. Athens is not very far away. It might take you the same amount of time to get here as a traffic, but both of these teams show up and so does their fans. And I've seen some people saying this is a home field advantage for Georgia. I do not think so. I don't know what y'all's opinion is on that, but I think that we'll see just as much crimson in the crowd tomorrow as red and black.
But what we were talking earlier, the impact on the playoffs will also make this feel different too, right?
Because it's not going to be entry anymore, it'll be seeding, and that changes the game entirely. And I think that passion for these conference championships will be a little diminished, as well as the value placed on winning.
Yeah, and LT, before I get to you, Brownie, you made a great point coming over.
I'll ask Lance this. So next year, Lance, Texas would be in this game, not Alabama. This would be Georgia and Texas if this were next year, because Texas, that would be a conference loss for Alabama. Texas would have a conference loss against Oklahoma, but they would hold the head-to-head against Alabama. So Texas would be in this game next year. Would you rather, if this were next year, Lance, right now, would you rather be Texas or Alabama?
Oh, Alabama, 100%. Because especially the way Texas is playing, Texas, I don't believe, could beat Georgia tomorrow. And with that second loss, I think Texas' lasting impression would be losing a game. They would be out. Alabama sitting comfortably at home on the couch. They would be in. And I think back to your original point, Dunaway, like this game tomorrow, Alabama-Georgia, let's say it was still Alabama-Georgia, really wouldn't mean anything. Both of these teams would be in. I think the same with Washington-Oregon. Winner or loser, they're both in. So these games will definitely be diminished. And to EG's point, it will be all about seeding. And that's why ultimately I think these games will go away.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think Lance is on the spot about that, because think about this right now. The SEC, Lance, would be guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but they have a shot at 4 playoff teams with Ole Miss. To your point, if Texas were in this game and lose this game, that bumps Ole Miss or Missouri or whoever would be in that spot. That bumps them out, because you'd have to make room for Texas if they even stay in.
Yeah, it would shuffle up the opportunity of somebody else to move in and knock somebody else down. So it will look different next year when we go to the 12-team playoff. I sort of wish we had it this year, though, because I feel like we're going to leave at least one good team, maybe 2 good teams out for the first time ever that could go on and win the championship. We're going to talk about history tonight in the Pac-12 when we come back. We're at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, just down the street from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where tomorrow Alabama and Georgia will play for a berth, I believe, and most of us believe, for a spot in the college football playoffs, and always important, the SEC championship. The show is being brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of those, the Pants Store. And if you're making your way over to Atlanta from the Birmingham area this weekend for the game, why not get new Alabama gear to wear, the game day polos or the hat or a quarter zip on a rainy, cool day at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to wear into there. Or maybe you want to buy the gift for the family member to put under the tree this holiday season. You can do it anywhere in America. Pantstore.com, pantstore.com, or visit their great 6 locations: Auburn, Crestline, Hoover, Huntsville, Leeds, and Tuscaloosa. All the name brands like Gentile, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, Elephant Head, and Taylor and Mick, and all the ladies' gear as well. Pantstore.com. And the wonderful folks there with Dr. B as well, LT. Tell us about the guy who changed really your follicles forever. It's a holiday follicle story. It's a follicle miracle.
He absolutely did. Again, since day one, when I first met Dr. Beckenstein to where we are right now, the hair has more than doubled in thickness. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. Tell him the next round sent you. You can also check out, for more information, T3hair.net.
One more time, the Pac-12. It'll be after sunset, not really Pac-12 after dark as we know it, but one more nighttime Pac-12 game tonight. We'll talk about Oregon and Washington and what's at stake when we continue on our coverage of the SEC championship, being brought to you by the fine folks at Roback, roback.com. Promo code TNR20 to get 20% off at roback.com. Also, our friends at southernrubbertire.com, southernrubbertire.com, locally owned for half a century for all your automotive needs. And Wayne's Pest Control for a pest-free holiday season. Save $50 on reoccurring charges right now. Call Waynes.com.
Our Monday morning quarterback is Fox Sports' Joel Klatt. Every Monday at 10:25.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, Brombergs.com.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel, where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Ryan Brown here for the next round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trustville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Back with you from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. It is SEC Championship Week. Brown, we're at a display that honors the great Goodyear blimp. And I remember how wonderful it was to be at my first game to see the Goodyear blimp flying over Legion Field in downtown Birmingham, Alabama. What a big deal that was for me as a kid from the trailer park.
I can remember, and I would imagine Lance and maybe not EG because she's such a kid, but Lance probably and Rockstar, people like that have this memory. Occasionally, Lance, I'd be in my backyard in Anniston and look up and the blimp was flying over, like it was making its way from somewhere to Birmingham. Or going to Atlanta.
Oh,
I don't know, Lance, if you ever did that. Like, do you remember that?
Oh yeah. And that was I'm right there with Dunaway. I mean, there was something. It was like the 8th wonder of the world was the Goodyear blimp. We thought it was such a big deal. And I mean, is it even out and about anymore? I know Marty Smith, our buddy from ESPN, did a shot from the Goodyear blimp a few years ago, but I can't recall anybody like pointing it out at a big game recently.
EG, you said you saw it recently.
I saw it in August at the at Eastlake.
Yeah, and the big golf tournament at the end of the tour.
Yeah. I think, Lance, we've gone heavy drones.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Easier to control, cheaper, fly in bad weather.
No potential
cooler
disaster.
shots, moving around a little bit more, not that drifting shot high above the stadium. CBS uses it a little too much. More on CBS a little bit later on as they do their final SEC game. But LT, right now, Rockstar is going to hit the song, and you're going to tell us about Buffalo Wild Wings one more time. We're doing our pick 3, and we're going to start off with the Pac-12. Hit it, Rockstar.
Pick 3, it's time for the pick 3. 3 for you and 3 for me, that equals a pick 3. Say goodbye to your family, it's time for the pick 3. Only time that I'm happy is when it's time for pick 3.
11 Central Alabama locations, including that new Buffalo Wild Wings Go location in Vestavia, the #1 sports bar in Birmingham for over 20 years now. Wall-to-wall TVs, 26 sauces and seasonings, along with a full menu of great burgers, wraps, and salads. Get in and see our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings all weekend long.
All right, so if you won, you got a ball in the bucket. You have received an email from John Lunsford and the Next Round staff to get you into the championship weekend, which starts tonight. So make sure you make your picks and do all the tiebreakers, and somebody will walk away with the grand prize when it's all said and done. An amazing season of winners. We met one guy last night. I think his name was Jim. I'll check later on. It was Roberson. I remember that was his last name. and he had 5 balls in the bucket. So he went 3-0 5 different times.
That's pretty remarkable.
Impressive.
Lance, I had somebody reach out to me that had 6 times. We've only done, 15 of these? 14? Almost half. He's gone 3-0.
We've only done 12.
Only 12, Lance. How crazy is that to go 3-0, 6 of 12 times?
I told Jim last night he was with his son playing that shuffleboard or whatever it is at Crestwood Tavern. I said, I need to put you on the payroll because that is beyond impressive, man. I mean, it really is. Because, we talk about just going 2-1 is difficult. I mean, 66%, you can build mansions in Las Vegas and live out there. You really can.
That was David. It was David, not Jim. My bad on that one. David with his son out there last night 5 times. So Lunsford has sent it out 3-0. 3-0 got to show a ball in the bucket, and now you're playing to be the champion and go onto the Wall of Fame there at Disrupt Media. One of the games you play tonight is historic, Lance. It is the last Pac-12 matchup ever, and all that's online tonight. The only thing that's happening tonight is it's for likely a college football playoff berth, likely a Heisman Trophy, and in the Pac-12 championship. We'll start with you, Lance. You're the biggest Pac-12 lover out here. It's a good way to go out, this kind of matchup with this kind of stakes, right?
It is, and the Pac-12 has always been little brother, and only in the 13th, this will be the 13th Pac-12 championship game. In the history of the conference, only 5 programs have won this game, and I don't know if you guys can think on that. You probably could get it relatively easy, but people, I would say 90+% of people I respect in our business are saying this is a definite play-in game. I'm not so sure. If Washington wins, they're in. But if Oregon wins a tight, sloppy game, all they've done is split. And I know the committee really likes this Oregon team, but based on the fact that they're sitting there at number 5 right now, I'm just not positive. Now, look, I expect Oregon to come out and look clean and crisp tonight. But for whatever reason, if they don't, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't think it guarantees Oregon getting in with a win tonight.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, Lance, because let me ask you this. Let's just use Alabama, or we can use Texas, either one, but let's just use Alabama. If it's down to those 2 teams, 1 loss versus 1 loss, now I know what everybody's about to say. They've had Oregon ranked in front of Alabama all this time, and they have. There's no denying that. But you just look at the resume of everything Oregon's done, and their best win is Washington. Everything Alabama's done, and their best win is number 1, Georgia. Lance, who do you think they go with there?
I think they would go with Alabama.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. If Alabama wins, then it could be a problem for this. But if Georgia wins this game, I think the winner's in.
I agree. I agree with that, Lance. Georgia wins. You won't know this when this game's being played, but if Georgia wins, the winner of this game is in.
Well, look, I think if Washington wins, and I think if you've got a 13-0 Washington and you've got a 12-1 Alabama, I think Washington would get in over Alabama. I think Oregon is the team with 1 loss. Then you've got a similar resume. I think undefeated conference champion. Look, I think Florida State can get left out winning the ACC. I don't think there's any way Washington can get left out winning this game.
All right, as we talk about the Buffalo Wild Wings pick 3 here with a little Pac-12 history happening tonight, and you'll get to see that game on ABC in prime time with Herb Street and Fowler on the call. That's the game they've got this weekend with Heisman implication, playoff implications, and the final last Pac-12 champion. In that game, by the way, Bo Nix completing 80% of his passes, right at 79.5% of his passes, which is going to be a record if he sticks the landing coming up. It's been 7 years since the Pac-12 has been in the college football playoff. Last time they were in, you remember the team, Lance?
It was Washington. I was actually in Atlanta watching Alabama pretty much skull drag that Washington team with Chris Peterson, Jake Browning, who will be starting Monday night for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I remember they went down, and a former first-round pick, John Ross, scored the opening touchdown. Washington went up 7-0. It was a landslide after that.
It was a landslide, and that was the Lane Kiffin.
That was his last game at Alabama. That was the game where Alabama was kind of sloppy offensively, and there were a lot of questions about Lane Kiffin being distracted. And Nick Saban answered those questions for a lot of people very, very quickly. And Steve Sarkisian called the championship game.
And we've been told over drinks at the Floribama a couple of times, LT, that Lane Kiffin was calling plays they hadn't practiced in 3 or 4 or 5, 6 weeks in that game.
And it showed up against Clemson. But back to this matchup. Okay, so Oregon and Washington since 1900 have played 116 times. This is the first time ever that they've both been in the top 5. That's kind of hard to believe.
Boy, that is that many games. You'd have think at least once they'd stumbled into the top 5.
But EG doesn't know this, LT, but because in her lifetime, Oregon has always been good. But for most of our lives, Oregon has been a horrible football program. It's a recent, they're new money in college football.
Yeah, they are. They're kind of the Florida just a little bit in front of them. But, it wasn't long ago we were calling Florida new money when Urban Meyer was winning national championships. They're kind of the West Coast version of that. But they've been dominant. If they win tonight, that will be 3 of the last 5 Pac-12 championships. They've got 4 already, which is the most of any Pac-12 team. So, look, they've been pretty dominant recently. And when you look at this team, they're in the top 7 of both scoring and scoring defense and scoring offense. So this team is, I know the resume is not what it is with some of these other one-loss teams like Alabama, but this Oregon team, they're playing their best football right now.
Lance, and a reminder, even if you're not in the championship round of the Pick 3, anybody can play these games at mybookie.ag, code next round, 50% sign-on match up to $1,000 at mybookie.ag. Actually, I just got some new stuff from them. I'll tell you about that coming up at mybookie.ag. Lance, you're the Pac-12 fan on the show. You've been a lifelong USC fan. Will you shed a tear tonight, the final Pac-12 game? I mean, will this be a somber occasion for you?
Well, it would be a little more, I would have more enjoyment, probably a little more bittersweet if USC was playing in this game. But I do think it's sad. I mean, you say what you want. There was something about the recent golden era of college football television that you could stay up and watch Pac-12 after dark. Yeah. And some of those finishes we got, whether you like the style of football or not, it kept us on the edge of our toes. And there are great brands in the Pac-12, and it really is sad that they're going away. And teams like Washington State and Oregon State, who are just, good, wholesome programs, are going to be flushed away now.
I agree with you. I will miss having that conference out there. And those schools will still be playing. They'll just be playing in the Big Ten, which is my least favorite football to watch unless it's a big game. But I guess the Big Ten becomes better when you add USC, Oregon, and Washington to it there. All right, and UCLA. No offense to the Bruins there. Before we get to the top of the hour and Todd Ferman, one more thing. And then after Ferman, hang around because EG's got a game for us, LT, on Who Said It.
Yep.
Guess who said it? We'll do it, and she'll set it up for us coming up after Ferman, and we'll talk about the rest of the games with Ferman. But one more thing before we get to the top of the hour, after LT tells you about our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, 2 great locations. They'll have the live music tonight, tomorrow night. You can get there early, enjoy the incredible food Rodney Davis has been doing for 3 decades now, award-winning wings, delicious burgers, the chili. Our friend Brett was raving about it the other night. It's great chili weather. You can get there, eat dinner, watch Pac-12 championship, and then enjoy some live music. Either location, the original in Crestline, the newest location in Homewood. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. It's a Birmingham institution, Odie's Tavern.
And our friends at Legacy, proud supporters of UAB football and basketball. The Blazers back in action tonight. In fact, 7 o'clock down at Bartow Arena. Bring a teddy bear. Get a special price ticket. Get in. Throw the teddy bear on the court when they ask you to. Don't do it just when they ask you to. And it'll go to help out a local charity there. The teddy bear toss tonight, 7 o'clock. Southern Miss and UAB tonight down at Bartow Arena. And for all your personal loans and credit cards and anything to help you this holiday season, including maybe extra Christmas presents or holiday travel, you can get a personal loan from Legacy. Just go to legacycreditunion.com to sign up there and get more details. Or maybe you want a Legacy credit card with great rates as low as 8.9% APR. You can do that at legacycreditunion.com as well. Federally insured by the NCUA. Lance and EG and Brownie, I'll ask you guys, if there was one artist, if you were stuck in a Russian prison, I told EG there was a Russian prison story.
Yep.
If you were the people want.
If you were stuck in a Russian prison, and this is a true story, they wake up the prisoners 11 miles outside of Moscow playing one artist, the same song every morning. They wake them up with the same artist just on repeat. Who would that artist be that you would hate to wake up to in prison every morning? Lance, you first.
Oh, my gosh. The list is so long, but I'll say Meghan Trainor is all about that bass.
I mean, mine would have to be Sandstorm. That song is so, like...
torturous.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's a good word, Lance. I mean, can you imagine that being your wake-up song every day? They're just hammering Sandstorm.
That is one of them they do.
Oh,
as
really?
Sandstorm.
How about that?
They do three songs,
Yeah.
and the only one I know the title to is Sandstorm. What about you?
What song I do not like? Heart Like a Truck, Lainey Wilson. If that song came on,
You don't like that?
in Russia and in the snow and the cold, I would lose my mind. I could probably escape from the prison, like of sheer rage.
If I was stuck in a Russian prison, that song came on, it would put images in my head that I would enjoy having in Russian prison.
Wow, Lance. Yeah, I don't know, Lance, if you can feel the awkwardness. back in
Jimmy
Birmingham.
Creeper. Look, EG, I've never heard the song, but I like you more and more every day because I'm sure it's awful.
Yeah. They play in sequence. They didn't tell me which one the song it was. A Bon Jovi song.
Living on a Prayer? That'd be pretty funny.
It would be funny
Yeah,
in
I
Russia.
like Bon Jovi.
Moby,
Okay, and Sandstorm.
Sandstorm, and the Russian national anthem.
Oh,
And
wow.
then it repeats. Bon Jovi, Moby, Sandstorm, Russian national anthem. And it does it all morning long in prison.
Ugh, disgusting.
That's psychological warfare.
That is. That's what that is.
Yeah. Speaking of psychological, Todd Ferman joins us from the desert. He gets a little zany when it comes to playoff time in college football. He'll give us some winners when we come back. College Football Hall of Fame's a location. You can see it's open. The tours are rolling through here. You can do it too. If you're coming over tonight, swing by here before you go to your hotel or before the game tomorrow. It's a great place to hang out. Show also being brought to you by the great folks at Hemp Hill LT. Take us to the top of the hour,
Yeah,
man.
$69 fall tune-up when you call our friends at Hemp Hill Services. I talked to Andrew the other day, Adam, Chad, Andrew, fantastic guys. They have they're the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. It's hard to stop a train. Call 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to The Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES-1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES-1 today. That's 866-WAYNES-1.
Give the gift of Daniel Moore art this holiday season with the 2024 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar. This year's calendar features collectors' most beloved Daniel Moore Alabama football moments, from the classic goal line stand to the Saban-era 2nd and 26. Special offer for listeners only. Buy 2 calendars and get 1 free with code HOLIDAY at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
And we're on the road at the College Football Hall of Fame. A lot of great things to see here, a couple of levels, and a lot of great history in this beautiful place in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, they built that in the southern footprint, an SEC footprint, because that's where we love college football. Todd Ferman from the desert in a second, but all of our coverage from Atlanta, both live and on all of our video platforms, is brought to you by these great sponsors. I want to be one of those guys that does those commercials coming back from the NFL games. Today's action being brought to you by Rowback.com. 20% off this holiday season. Promo code TNR20. Also by SouthernRubberTire.com. Southern Rubber Tire, locally owned for 50 years for all your automotive needs. And by Wayne's. Have a pest-free holiday and save $50. Call Wayne's.com.
Back here in Atlanta, Falcons lead 3-0 late third quarter. All right, Todd Ferman with us now, BetTheBoardPodcast.com, out in Vegas at Todd Ferman on Twitter, and he joins us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Ferman? How are you on championship weekend?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are getting geared up for the big game on tap tomorrow to see who punches their ticket to the college football playoff.
Yeah, we are, man. We're excited. I do want to start, and I want to stress as much as I can. This was a radio show, sports radio show, 92.9 The Game, the morning shift. As Dunaway and I were coming into Atlanta this morning, one of their hosts was talking about rumors/reports that Florida State may now be without their second-team quarterback. I'm just curious, has any of that word leaked into Vegas that it may be QB3 starting for the Seminoles against Louisville?
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And from what I've been told, it is a true game-time decision for Tate Rodemaker potentially being that guy dealing with the aftermath of a concussion. So Florida State will look very different in one way or another when they kick off tomorrow night against Louisville in the ACC championship game. I'm sure a lot of college football fans that have no vested interest or skin in the game as it pertains to the Seminoles would be more than happy to see them lose, knowing that in their current construct, they're not one of the four best teams, but that they'd be very difficult to keep out of a 4-team playoff if you end up a group of 5 champion with a 13-0 record, especially if they're able to go out there and do it with margin tomorrow against Louisville.
And I don't know where you are on it, Ferman, but even before the Rodemaker news, I liked Louisville plus the 2.5.
For me, I think the number had kind of moved a little bit too far to try and have a little bit of value and upside there. We did see this price open, LT, in that 4.5, 5 range, even as high as 6. There wasn't much resistance. You did get a wave yesterday on Louisville from those 2.5s becoming 1.5. The one thing that I'm interested to see, and Jeff Brom, no slouch in his own right on the opposite sideline for Mike Norvell, is a question of what Florida State will look to do defensively, because clearly the onus for a team like this, playing with their second or third string quarterback, will be on creating short fields, trying to get off on third down. And you saw last week in the first half against Florida, they were largely vanilla with some of their schemes, got themselves down, but in the second half completely clamped down on Max Brown. And I think this Louisville team has a lot of questions they have to answer. I mean, they've shown some vulnerabilities in recent weeks. But yeah, Florida State playing with some questionable depth at the quarterback position could find themselves in harm's way when it comes to trying to get out of this game with a victory.
Just down the street, Ferman, Georgia and Alabama, where Georgia's a 6-point favorite last I checked. 190 of 194 games, Alabama has been the favorite. It's a rare underdog situation here. What do you make of this contest?
When you look at this game, it's really been a battle as far as side and total is concerned. We saw Georgia open as low as a 4-point favorite. Number got as high as 6.5. And you've seen a little bit of Alabama money start to enter the market, with us kind of sitting in no man's land at this point. What's interesting about the way the Kirby Smart Nick Saban series has gone, Kirby's teams have found no problems getting leads. They just haven't been able to hold them. I mean, in the 5 games they've played, Georgia has come out 1-4, but they've led in all of those contests. So we'll see if they're able to put their foot on the accelerator early and find some separation. The total has been a battle as well. We saw this number open as low as 53.5, get to 56, and start to see some under money come into the market. When we look at Alabama, they've gone over in 8 straight SEC title games. The average closing total in those games has been 50.6. The average points per game scored 10 points more at 62.6. So it'll be real interesting with relatively inexperienced quarterbacks which team is a little bit more aggressive, because I think both of these defenses leave a little bit to be desired compared to what we've grown accustomed to from both these proud programs.
Todd Ferman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com. He's out in Vegas giving us the numbers from the desert. He is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline as we continue from the College Football Hall of Fame for SEC Championship weekend. On that game, and I may be stepping into some proprietary information with you, and I apologize if I do, but I know some of the ways you kind of get your power numbers is you look at positions, who's got the advantage at this position. When you look at these two quarterbacks, how close in the mind of the odds makers are Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck?
Milroe has really bridged the gap in terms of what I would have done from an overall power rating standpoint. We know when things hit rock bottom at Alabama going into that USF game, there wasn't much differential between Buckner, Ty Simpson, and what Milroe can do. But as we've seen Alabama unleash his legs a heck of a lot more in recent weeks, the power profile for this offense has gone up. The biggest question for Alabama, though, for me, is some of the weapons that they have, not only on the outside, but with a running back room that may be a little bit more injured than what Nick Saban and company want to let on. What I have been surprised by, though, Brownie, when you look at some of the comparisons being made, a lot of buzz starting around Jalen Milroe taking the trajectory of an Anthony Richardson as he continues to work on his accuracy and touch throwing downfield, being a physically imposing runner. And I'm very curious to see what Kirby does on the defensive side. Do they allow them to throw the deep ball and take some of those shots? Because Georgia historically has liked to play light boxes, but I'm not sure you can go that route given Milroe's ability and willingness to run the football since we flipped the calendar from October into November.
The final Pac-12 game we will see tonight, Oregon and Washington. Furman, after Washington won earlier this year, they haven't played great football. They've been winning, though. Oregon has been pretty dominant. I'm not surprised at all that Oregon is favored. I thought that they would come out 4.5 or 5. This number, though, to be between 8.5 and 9.5 is massive.
I was actually looking to lay 7 in this game, and when the number came even higher than that, it kind of put me off of this game entirely in terms of trying to make a case for the side. What we've seen, though, the market did get to 10 late last night, early this morning. That number didn't last. We're kind of in that 9 range right now, even one prominent shop out here in the desert sitting at 8.5. And when you look at Washington, I mean, they haven't trailed a game by more than 7 points at any point this season. They've trailed in 5 games total for a grand total of right around 95 minutes. And one of the stats digging into this matchup that blew me away is that Washington is 22-0 straight up under Kalen DeBoer when they allow fewer than 40 points. We're not talking about 21 points, 28 points, but a real crooked number there. So this may be an opportunity to buy Washington at the bottom of the market. But you mentioned some of the concerns about current form, and there are plenty of them about Michael Penix. His accuracy has really fallen off a cliff in recent weeks. Over the last 7 games, he has struggled immensely to try and show that same level that we grew accustomed to early in the year. The receiving room for the Huskies, though, will be significantly healthier with Jalen McMillan back out there, Giles Jackson, who they did everything they could to preserve that red shirt. So at 10, I can understand some of the value proposition that was there with Washington, but should be a fascinating game to see and a potential coronation for Bo Nix as the Heisman frontrunner.
Ferman, there's been a lot of discussion about who's in, who is not in after tonight. If Washington does pull out the victory against Oregon, there's more arguments that are brought into question for Alabama making it. For you personally, what would be your most intriguing national championship matchup?
So for me, when I look at the potential Final Four, I think you take the winner of tonight's game. Washington, if they end up undefeated, won't be kept out. And I think Oregon in their current form, as far as a power number standpoint, they're separated by a field goal between Georgia and Michigan. So those 3 teams, you throw a blanket over all of them, and I think it's a tightly contested matchup. We probably put Michigan into the mix. I can't see them losing to Iowa, given that Iowa sets football back about 100 years with their inability to throw the forward pass. Every Saturday we have to watch them. And that's where things start to get interesting. If Alabama knocks off Georgia and Texas wins by margin in the Big 12, who gets that fourth spot. But for me, I think the most interesting national championship to see the contrast in styles would be Georgia on one side going for their third national title, much to the chagrin of Alabama fans, and Oregon on the other side, because people remember the first game Dan Lanning coached in Eugene where Georgia beat them 49-3. That program has come a long, long way in 2 seasons, and it would be fascinating to see how this could potentially unfold.
Ferman, you know I'm a Schoolhouse Rock generation kid, so to the tune of Libby, get your adverb here, Ollie, 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 get your touchdown here. Can Oklahoma State stay with Texas this weekend?
You know, numbers-wise, you wouldn't see anything that would lead you to believe that Oklahoma State can be competitive in this game. But for anybody that's watched college football long enough and seen Mike Gundy, he does more with less when the chips are down than any coach in the country in terms of getting his team to take the us-against-the-world mentality. And that's reflected in some of the trends when you look at Oklahoma State in general, where this is a program that the last 16 times they've been an underdog, they've gone 11-5 against the number, and they've won outright 9 times in those 16 games as an underdog. Those numbers get to be even more impressive when you look at the last 13 games that Coach Gundy's team has played against teams ranked inside the AP top 25. 10-2-1 against the spread in those 13 games. And look at this year for Oklahoma State. 4-0 this season with teams against teams with 8+ wins. 4-0 straight up the past 4 games as a dog, including Bedlam, the double-digit upset of Kansas State. I think Texas has too much along the defensive line to let Ollie Gordon go nuts, but it wouldn't shock me at all if this game was tight deep into the fourth quarter, given Steve Sarkisian's penchant for not putting inferior teams away and an ability sometimes to leave a game plan that leaves a little bit to be desired.
Finally, Ferman, it's hard to believe we live in a world where Alabama could win the SEC championship over a team that has won back-to-back national championships in 29 consecutive games and be a one-loss conference champion and be left out of the college football playoff. But right now, do you see odds on the top 7 or 8 teams of getting into the playoff picture? And what is it right now for Alabama if you do have that number?
So Alabama's number right now, LT, is basically the money line for this game. So odds makers believe that if Alabama wins and finishes 12-1 as an SEC champion, they will get into the playoff. Georgia has been the fascinating team to watch because we had prices on a yes-no for Georgia early last week that Georgia was about 18-1 that they could miss the college football playoff. That number ain't around anymore. Georgia now in that 2.5-1, 3-1 range, suggesting to me that there is growing sentiment that the loser of the SEC title game, even with Georgia looking to try and defend back-to-back national titles, would be on the outside looking in unless there was complete chaos everywhere else in the landscape. Oregon, heavy favorite, given their stance tonight, says basically they win against Washington, they're in. So I've seen them at -250 in that -$3 range. So that kind of puts things in perspective with some of the teams that are out there. And if you really believe in a Cinderella story in a chaos scenario, Ohio State checks in at a price right around 9-1, but I'm not sure I'd be getting to the window with the Scarlet and Gray. They may need a lot of things to unfold for them to get in as an 11-1 team, not even playing in their conference championship.
That may take a stadium implosion for them to get in. I don't even know the scenario.
I think for Ohio State to get in, they need a Michigan loss against Iowa. You need a Texas loss against Oklahoma State. You need Florida State to lose to Louisville, and then maybe there's a possibility. But I think that's the way that the SEC could get 2 teams in. And I'd have to imagine that Georgia, if they were on the wrong end against Alabama, would make a better case to get in at 12-1 than Ohio State at 11-1.
Yeah, they would in my book for sure. All right, he is Todd Ferman. You can get all the games, including the NFL games this weekend at bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com. Follow the former odds maker at Caesars Palace there on Twitter at Todd Ferman. Thank you very much, Ferman. Enjoy championship weekend.
Always a pleasure. Best of luck with your investments this weekend, ladies and gents.
All right, buddy. Take care. Ferman with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
I was going to tell him maybe he'll go back and listen. New Mexico State against Liberty's my big play this weekend.
I'm curious if that is even on the board for Lance's lock. Lance?
Boy, I had a side, and I'm still taking a look at it.
I tell you what, a wink and a nod is the same to a blind man, right? I know exactly what you're saying there, Lance. I just think that New Mexico State can that Liberty team is shaky to me. Shaky. Well, you can play all those games at mybookie.ag. Hey, the show's being brought to you in part by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision, LT.
Yeah, 205-969-8100 right now. An incredible special going on. It's the before the New Year special. So if you get screened out, you are a candidate, and you get the procedure done by December 31st, you're going to save big from the next round of Michelson Laser Vision. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Got the procedure done myself over 20 years ago. I still have 2015 better than 2020. If you've been procrastinating, thinking about doing it, now is the time. The gift of sight for someone else or for yourself, michelsonlaservision.com or 205-969-8100 and ask for Amy.
And before we do the portal, I'll also tell you the show's being brought to you by the great folks at the University of Montevallo, montevallo.edu. If you're looking for a great place for your son or daughter to continue their education path, Montevallo is a great place. Maybe their athletic path. 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports there. It's all at Montevallo, montevallo.edu. Check it out. Wonderful theater department, business department, music department, a broadcasting school. Check it all out. Montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. Any of these people interest you in the portal? Lance Taylor, DJ Uiagalelei into the portal. He's going to use his 5th season. You interested in DJ?
I mean, it depends on where I am with a quarterback. Obviously, if he followed Jonathan Smith, it would be a major upgrade in East Lansing. But overall, there are other quarterbacks that I would try to track down before I would DJ.
Brownie, DJ Uiagalelei, DJ football. Old DJ.
So we saw bad, average and bad at times DJ at Clemson. Lance, I feel like we saw good DJ early, and then he kind of turned the corner. I don't know, man. I will hold and see what else is in the portal before I go DJU.
Okay, quick answers, please, DJ.
I feel like it's an opportunity for him to go to a rebuilding situation, but I'd keep my hands off of him.
One place being mentioned, Kentucky.
Well, Lance,
where quarterbacks go to die.
Right, Lance. He's perfect for Kentucky, yeah. Lance. He's already playing just bad enough. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, and I think he's somewhere in between Devin Leary and Will Levis. So, that would be perfect.
At least they know how to put things out to pasture up there in Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Juice Wells in the portal as well. But so is Dante Moore, the young freshman at UCLA, Lance, and he took a shot, I believe, at Chip Kelly, saying after just 1 year, he was a 5-star recruit. He says, I want to go to a coaching staff who would develop me. He was the starter, and then they benched him because he was throwing so many interceptions. What do you think about Dante?
Yeah, I mean, coming out, he was the number 2 overall prospect out of the city of Detroit in the 2023 class. And Chip Kelly just couldn't figure out a starting quarterback. I would have gone with Dante Moore the entire year. Ethan Garber's had a little bit more experience. Colin Shealy, who came over from a MAC team, was the other guy that got starts. This is going to be fascinating because Dante Moore talked to a lot of people that think his upside is huge. And if he wants to go back in state, J.J. McCarthy's going to be going to the NFL. And Jonathan Smith, right there in East Lansing now, there are a lot worse coaches you could go quarterback for. So I think one of those two would be in the lead for me.
One more interesting note on Dante. One school that may be interested, according to reports, USC.
Oh. Whoa. So he's just going to go cross town. Lance, would you like Dante Moore?
I haven't seen enough of him. I mean, based on the experts, the recruiting experts, they think he's going to be a complete stud. And look, Lincoln Riley, we can take knocks on him and the defensive side of the ball all day long, but his quarterbacks have been nothing but productive. So I will trust Lincoln Riley. If Dante Moore ends up going to USC, then I feel like he will be very, very productive.
USC missed, apparently, USC missed on their defensive coordinator, Lance. You guys are trying to hire the Nebraska guy, and he's just agreed to an extension for Matt Rule. It looked like that was the prime target for USC to replace Alex Grinch, and I can understand why. That Nebraska defense is pretty good this year.
Well, yeah, they were. They were back to almost being black shirts, and if you make the jump to USC, you still really wonder about the commitment to defense from Lincoln Riley, and I've got to see it before I can believe it.
Yeah. One other note before we get to some sound here from SEC Media Days and a game in our next segment from EG. Guess Who Said It is coming up in the next segment. But Graham Mertz announced he's returning to Florida. I'll start with you, EG. Do you think that made Florida fans happy or sad?
I'm going to guess it made them a little sad, because I think they're in the mindset of get it all gone and just let's mix it up.
Flush it and move
Flush
on.
it and move on.
Brownie?
Yeah, I think they would have rather reset, but the problem for Billy Napier is if you reset, somebody else will be coaching that quarterback next year.
Yeah, LT, Graham Mertz, another year. You think somebody can come in and beat him out, maybe?
Nah, I mean, it would be comical based on what he posted on his Instagram. But I think Graham Mertz was really good. You know, it was a few months ago, we're sitting in Nashville, and everyone that's coming up, we're talking about quarterback rankings, and everybody's got him 14th to 14th. And Graham Mertz has got a ton of experience. He would be coming back for that 6th and final year. If I'm Billy Napier, I like the experience, and I like how efficient he was this year.
He had some high moments and some low moments for sure, much like that entire football team. All right, we're at the College Football Hall of Fame. Our coverage here for the SEC Championship continues. You'll hear both from Nick Saban and Kirby Smart in the next segment. They were here in town yesterday with the news conferences kicking off the big championship weekend. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Hydra Live, LT.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. We are officially in December, which is insane. But with that said, a lot of people start their Christmas shopping. Great stocking stuff or a gift card from our friends at Hydra Live. They're open 7 days a week. Great locations all over, including 2 here in Birmingham, Greystone, and Homewood. If you can't make it out there, they can send a nurse to you. For more information, HydraLiveTherapy.com. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Hydra Live Therapy. Make sure you mention Next Round at checkout, and you're going to save 20% off any of their great services at Hydra Live.
And remember to give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe on all the Next Round Live platforms.
Start each game week on Monday morning live with ESPN's Tom Luganville and Jim Dunaway. 7 a.m. everywhere you get the Next Round.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy credit card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR annual percentage rate. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCUA.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live. Mention Next Round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. Hydra Live's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The Next Round golf card is back and is presented by Urology Centers of Alabama. For $89, play Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the renovated Woodward Golf Club. $247 in value for just $89. Or get bonus gifts with the Deluxe Golf Card for $119. No restrictions, good through September of 2024, but supplies are limited. Buy right now at nextround.store.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino's 7 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Birmingham Racecourse Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
All right, we're back here at the College Football Hall of Fame, and Alabama and Georgia fans and some students are touring around as well. One fan from Tuscaloosa swung by and said, "Hey, you guys live right now?"
No, we're in a break. And he was like, a buddy of mine, Lance, not our Lance, different Lance, in Tuscaloosa just texted me and said, "Hey, are you at the College Football Hall of Fame?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here. What? How do you know?" He's like, "I just saw you behind the next round." So Lance at Tuscaloosa, your boy here says, "Get back to work."
Get to work.
Yeah.
Stop watching the show. Do something productive.
Now we disagree. We say leave it on at work all the time. So shout out to Lance in Tuscaloosa, watching it work and spotting his buddy in the background back here.
Our friends at Wayne's want to remind you, as it gets a little colder right now, you can stop mice and other outdoor rodents moving into your house this holiday season by calling 866-WAYNES-1, 866-WAYNES-1. Gift yourself a safe and pest-free holiday home this holiday season. And since we're celebrating 50 years of Wayne, you get $50 off the reoccurring services with Wayne's when you mention you watch us on the next round or when you call them up right now. Don't let mice and rats ruin your holiday celebration. Pest-free holidays with our friends at Wayne's. Call 866-WAYNES-1 or go online to callwaynes.com. Rockstar cut 1 and cut 2, and then we'll play a little Guess Who Said It. Hopefully these two sound bites aren't Guess Who Said It.
We'll see.
Oh, wow.
I can pivot. Don't worry.
You can pivot. Okay. You got enough to pivot.
Yeah.
Here's Nick Saban on a winner of this game, Alabama, not being in the college football playoff. Here's Coach Saban.
I think that the SEC is one of the best conferences in the country. I think Georgia is one of the best teams in the country. And I think that they're one of the best 4 teams in the country. I think if we beat them, we'd be one of the best 4 teams in the country. Because, teams do, there's a transformation that goes through the season. So how are you playing now? Where is your team now? How good are you now? I think all those things, come into play. But I think it would be a disrespect to the SEC if there is an SEC representation in the Final Four. I do believe that.
Nick Saban yesterday at our kickoff news conference with the coaches.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Nick Saban said that. So, Lance, we were asked this on the drive over because what Nick Saban is saying there is, from day one to whatever day this is in the college football season, his team has improved. I mean, they're a different team than they started the season, and a lot of that is because of the evolution of Jalen Milroe at quarterback. Dunaway and I were answering some questions on Instagram on the drive over for Little T, and we were asked what would the line be in a Texas-Alabama rematch if they played neutral site in the college football playoff. What's the point spread for that game?
I think Alabama would be a 6-point favorite.
Yeah, Dunaway got it.
Oh, I nailed it, man.
I said 4. Dunaway said 6, 6.5. So, and that what were they in Tuscaloosa though? What was Alabama?
I think Alabama was 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
I said it would be 9.5 in Tuscaloosa, 6.5 at a neutral site, and 4.5 Alabama in Austin.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be that high in Austin. And a lot of this is dependent upon how Texas comes out and plays tomorrow because they finally look like a whole team on Black Friday against Texas Tech.
That was a great point because I have written down right here, EG will confirm. Horns peaking? Question mark. 57-7. They too are playing pretty good football here at the end of the year.
Well, look, you're not going to like what I'm going to bring up here because I know you can't stand Mike Gundy and you think he's a terrible coach. But the fact of the matter is, dude can really coach. But Texas, best rush defense right now in college football, only giving up 85 yards per game. How about this? In the last 15 seasons, Oklahoma State is 46-22 in one-possession games, second best in the FBS in one-possession games over that span, including 4-1 this year. And Oklahoma State seeking their 8th 10-win season since 2010. They had 3 in the school history before Mike Gundy was there.
Yeah, playing like opponents last week. Mike Gundy was in a one-possession game against BYU.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of those against teams not as good as his.
Yeah, you'll love this, Lance. Me and Dunaway are riding over today. We're bouncing around some of the sports radio here in Atlanta. There's several different options. And the one of the options is talking about this game, and one of the guys on the air goes, it's Texas, Oklahoma. Oh, I like Texas, Oklahoma. They can't run the football.
Yeah,
Oklahoma State can't run the football. I'm like, are you?
Well, I mean, they do have a guy
what are
named
you even talking
Ollie
about?
Gordon.
Have you ever heard of Ollie Gordon?
Leads the
Gordon's had 8
FBS.
touchdowns the last 2 games.
Well,
Lance.
he leads the FBS almost 1,600 rushing yards right now.
1,600.
Yeah, he's got 20 rushing touchdowns. But I can't believe you're going to discount that, Dunaway. How many SEC teams since 2010 have 8, 10-win seasons? I think it's
since 2010. Alabama's had 10 straight 11-win seasons.
No, I would say it's Alabama and
Georgia. They don't lower
Georgia.
themselves to 10.
Well, you got anybody but Alabama and Georgia. You think? I don't think anybody has.
No. I think Lance probably right on that.
Maybe LSU. Maybe. Kirby Smart got asked yesterday about college football playoffs and seedings and things like that. We're really good at guessing what coaches are going to say. Here's Kirby Smart yesterday at the news conference.
I don't know whether the game loses its importance. It'll never lose its importance in a program that I'm coaching at, because you're trying to win a championship, and that becomes the focal point of a conference that's going to be even more powerful. Winning a championship like that, I don't know. People try to demean the value and say that, oh, it's only important that you win the playoff and you win the national championship. There's a lot of merit to winning a SEC conference championship, especially when you add the teams we're going to add.
Steve Spurrier always believed that too.
Well, I do, Lance. I would agree with what Kirby Smart is saying. One of the sad things about the college football playoff for me, and it really started even before that, is I feel like the diminished view of an SEC championship. When I was growing up, and I don't want to sound like an old man here, it was a different sport. It was a different way. The SEC championship absolutely mattered. I mean, it was a big deal. Fans rushed the field. They tore down goalposts because it was settled in the regular season, not in a championship game. But even, Lance, once we started playing it in Legion Field in the Georgia Dome, this game had immense meaning to the teams involved.
Oh, yeah. Look, I would think about 85, 90% accuracy tell you not only all the SEC champions in the championship games, but jumping around the Power 5 conferences. If you gave me the year, I feel like I could tell you who won the conference championship. And the fact of the matter is, moving forward, once we get to a 12 team, it's going to be much like college basketball. I can't tell you who won regular season championships. I can't tell you who won the conference championships. And I think that's going to be the same, because you brought up the point earlier. This would be next year, Texas and Georgia. Alabama would be sitting at home, and they would be going to the college football playoff.
That's right.
Not having to sweat it. Part of the show being brought to you. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask you this quick question. You were out the other day when I asked Lance. Next year, you're declaring a champion, right? If you didn't have a championship game.
Yeah, we're always going to have champions.
Right. Who would you declare, Alabama or Georgia?
This year, they would be co-champions.
But only one of them gets the automatic berth in the top four. That's what
it would be. Georgia.
Yeah,
it would be Georgia right now. Yeah, they would be.
You'd go co-champions, and you would just let the committee sort out who gets the
or computers, whatever we end up doing. Yeah, but it would be Georgia. But they would be co-champions.
Yeah.
But Georgia would get the bye in the 12-team tournament. All right, the game that EG has for us is brought to you by our friends at Redmond Vodka. LT.
We just had Charles Barkley on the show a little over an hour ago. He is one of the great faces behind the locally owned and operated product. Again, the holidays are here. Great thing to take to any holiday party. Great stocking stuffer. It's available in 22 states now. Ask for it by name. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled. It is Redmond Vodka.
You won't get this inside joke, Emily Grace, but Rockstar, do we have an open for it? Go ahead and start us. What do we have?
Can you give me a tune?
That's what I mean.
Who said it? Who said it? Who said it?
Somebody guess. Who said it?
Okay, so this is going to be perfect because we were just talking about the significance of the SEC. I think winning the SEC is always a big thing. Ever since I've been in this league, when you played in this game, when maybe the playoffs weren't the significant outcome that it is right now, it was still something special to be able to win the SEC. Ryan Brown on the buzzer.
It's 100% Lance's Nick Saban. This is easy.
Yeah, Lance, you should know this is either Kirby or Nick. Every one of these.
There could be a curveball.
I got
I thought you said it was Kirby or Nick.
Well, there may be someone else.
Okay.
I got
Kirby,
a text
Nick, or someone else.
from EG earlier.
Lance, I'm still going Nick Saban.
Explaining what the game was. Kirby basically just said that, though, in that soundbite.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah. I am going to say it's Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's Nick Saban echoing in his opening statement, same thing Kirby said.
You guys are correct.
It's Nick Saban? Okay, there you go. We're up 1-0 on Lance.
Okay.
We're not keeping score.
Okay.
It means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to our players. I think it will mean a lot in the future as well. I don't think whether there's 4 teams in the playoffs or 12 teams in the playoffs, I mean, this game has some significance in terms of what might happen in the playoff, but that's not necessarily true all the time.
That's Kirby Smart to me. What about you, LT?
Yeah, I'll go Kirby Smart on that one.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Kirby on that one.
Nick Saban.
Oh, dang.
I know. All right.
You're one of those.
What?
Well, I mean, that was well set up by her.
One of those curveball pitchers. You're a little Greg Mathis.
Can't tip
It's
a
an
pitch.
opportunity that
Dunaway.
was earned by our team in this program. I know our players are certainly excited for the opportunity.
Oh, two opportunities.
I tell them all the time.
Nick Saban. Stop. Buzz in.
Nick Saban, Lance. We had 2 opportunities.
Yeah, I would
Lance
go
and
Saban too,
No,
but
it's not.
I will say
It is
these.
Kirby Smart.
It's almost like twins. I mean, they say the exact same things.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Kirby went 2 opportunities. Wow.
Kirby with 2 opportunities.
I think that's a trademark violation.
I know our guys are excited about the opportunity. We'll have their full attention preparing for Alabama this week. So he actually had 3 opportunities.
Oh. If you'd gotten to that part about Alabama,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would have gotten that right.
Okay. I can't say enough about the tremendous respect I have for him, the job he's done.
Lance.
I think that is Nick Saban talking about Kirby Smart.
I think it's Kirby talking about Nick.
I do too. It's too short to be Saban. Saban would have gone longer. I think it's Kirby.
Kirby.
Oh.
Kirby about Saban. Okay. To do the impossible, you must see the invisible.
That's Kirby. Saban doesn't talk about
I
impossible.
don't think that's either one of them.
That's freaking Yoda.
Yeah, I think that's Lane Kiffin. Is it Lane Kiffin? Yeah, I'm killing this game. 100% that's Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
I thought we were playing Kirby or Nick.
Well,
against Lane
that
Kiffin.
was, I just
Curveball.
saw that, and that was
Bonus
funny.
question.
Okay.
What was that quote again?
To do the impossible, you must be able to see the invisible.
Lance, do you agree with that philosophy?
Man, I mean, maybe if I'm on a shroom or something, I don't know.
I mean, check with Lunsford real quick, but I think that's Yoda when he's
That-
explaining the Force to
Lane
Skywalker.
Kiffin was quoting
Yeah,
Yoda.
so that's Les Kiffin quoting Yoda.
Yeah, I
there.
think it's
Okay, let me do the
easier to
last
do the
one.
impossible than to see
Go
the
ahead,
invisible.
Lance.
I was saying I think it's easier to do the impossible than see the invisible.
Yeah,
Oh, I think Lance is right about that. Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, last one. So he's done a phenomenal job of recruiting and developing players in the program. I think the result bears that out.
Nick Saban.
That
on
does,
Kirby's
Lance, that does sound like Nick Saban talking about Kirby.
I need to get one right. I'm going to say Kirby Smart.
No, Nick Saban.
Yeah, this game is not. It's not Uno.
No, it is not.
You're really good at that. Okay, let's do something you're good at, LT. Kirk Cignetti takes the Indiana job. I was surprised by his age. How old is he?
Kirk Cignetti is 62 years old.
He is 62 years old. I didn't think he was that old.
I mean, how do you get that, Lance? That's Kirk Cignetti. How did you get Kirk Cignetti?
I don't know. I've got that weird Carney vibe. You guys know that. I don't know if this is. I guess what happened is Kirk Cignetti. I don't know who actually represents him, but look, you've pretty much topped out what you've been able to do with James Madison. And you look at Tom Allen getting over $15 million in a buyout. You're going to the Big Ten. I don't think you have any shot at successfully winning consistently at Indiana, but they'll pay you a lot of money.
So I have a story about Kurt.
Uh-oh, Kirk Cignetti.
So yes, I do. So when
I've been around Lance so long that when a young female reporter starts with "I have a story about," insert blank here,
Oh my
I always think it's gonna be a negative story, not a positive story. Okay.
It's all right. So when I was at Georgia Southern and I was our sideline reporter, James Madison came to Statesboro. They were ranked 25. And we had no expectations. It was Coach Helton's first season. And so the week of, you do the coaches' interviews. And all I really knew about him prior was that he was in the Nick Saban coaching tree.
Right.
So very intimidating. So I was intimidated of just people in the tree of Nick Saban. And now I see the actual Nick Saban.
The trunk of the tree.
Yeah, the trunk of the tree. So you guys can only imagine how that was the first time I saw Coach Saban on the field. I thought he was going to shoot fire out of his eyes and I was going to keel over.
Oh, he can.
He can. And so anyways, I remember on that phone call being so particular with my questions. I wanted to impress him. And that game, Georgia Southern ended up beating James Madison and it came down to the wire. And my only thought was, please let Georgia Southern win, because if I have to do a post-game interview with Kurt Cignetti after they barely beat Georgia Southern as a top 25 team.
Yep.
I have no idea what I'll ask him. I have no idea what I'll say. And the thought terrified me. Thank goodness Georgia Southern won. The field stormed. I interviewed Kyle Van Treese. He broke all the records for Georgia Southern that game, and it was pretty.
I bet Signetti's a nice guy. I bet you completely.
I think I am. But at that time in my career, I was
scared to death,
terrified to interview him if they had won.
Our show being brought to you by Storm Restoration Roofing. LT's got 4 downs in our next segment. We'll also hear a clip from Hey Coach last night, where our show bled over into not a technical malfunction, something with our switcher.
That would be awesome, though.
But a little something that happened on our show from an LT question made it onto Hey Coach last night. You'll learn more about that when we come back. The show brought to you by Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. The number you need to get a free no-cost roof inspection this holiday season. You got to have a good roof for Santa to land that sleigh up there with all the reindeers. Greg will make it just right for him. He'll give you that good landing strip up there. 205-542-3531. 542-3531 for a free no-cost roof inspection. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. It means multiple things. Locally owned for over 20 years. It is Storm Restoration Roofing from Pell City. We're back at the College Football Hall of Fame when we come back after this.
Anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round. You've heard me for years talk about our friends at Bromberg's Jewelers, and we welcome you to stop by and see that great customer service at the Mountain Brook and Summit locations. But we'd also love for you to check out their new online shop. They've got plenty to choose from. Great gifts, big and small. Available online, they've got David Yurman, Tudor watches, select diamond and gemstone jewelry, William Henry, seasonal and favorite giftware items, and baby gifts as well. They've even got an online sale section. For more information, brombergs.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino's 7 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Birmingham Racecourse Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
Back with you at the College Football Hall of Fame here in Atlanta, Georgia. Remember, if you're coming over for the SEC Championship, go ahead and jump in here, get a tour today before you go to the hotel, and then go on, come over here tomorrow,
Yeah.
maybe before pregame. A
Why
lot of time
not?
to kill in the morning before you go over to the bench. LT has got 4 downs in a second, but the show all weekend long is being brought to you by our new friends down at Southern Rubber Tire, LT, where Brian Gilmer and the gang are ready to help you with all your automotive needs.
Yeah, make sure you stop in and see them. They're located downtown Birmingham under the big Michelin sign next to Highway 65 on 6th Avenue North. Locally owned and operated for over 50 years. Local tire and automotive store you can actually trust. You can go online for more information. They carry all major brands of tires. Financing is available. Let them take care of all your automotive service needs. Again, for more information, go see Brian Gilmer and the gang or online, southernrubbertire.com.
Couple of things from here in Atlanta before LT gives us the 4 downs. The SEC championship game, as Brown mentioned, in Atlanta through 2031 with a possibility, an option to go through 2036. Lance, I think personally, and I'll get Brown and EG's opinion, I think this was a great timed announcement from Greg Sankey in the Southeastern Conference with Texas and Oklahoma coming in to let everyone in the country know we're not about to move this SEC championship game to Arlington because Texas and Oklahoma is coming to the league. We're going to keep playing this in an SEC footprint, the old school SEC way.
Well, I think that's important. I think to the announcement, the timing too, as we come into what is a pivotal game. If Alabama wins this game, again, there's a contingent out there that believe they could get shut out. Greg Sankey was on the record. You know, he had the resumes ready to roll. So I think just dangling the SEC brand out there, however you can get any kind of pub, I think is important.
You made a good point as we were driving over talking about this today, that you think there's a better chance it's in the new Nashville stadium before it would be in a stadium in Texas.
Yeah, the only problem with that is, Brown, is that will be such a small venue.
I think only 60,000.
Right,
Yeah.
which will be a tough ticket for an SEC.
My
This
gosh.
one's even a tough ticket for an SEC championship game. The one thing about Arlington is you can expand that thing out to 90,000. But as we've been discussing, EG, we don't know how important these games are going to be in the future.
Right.
Will it have the urgency of fans wanting to go on the road for a conference championship game?
I do not think so. I think it's really smart of Greg Sankey to say we're sticking to Atlanta. We're true to Atlanta, if you will.
Yep.
Hawks, little reference
Oh,
there.
I missed that. I'm not a big Hawks guy.
It's okay. I'm not
All right.
either.
All right.
But I do think that this venue allows for a lot of people to come in. It's somewhat centrally located, and to put it in Texas, I feel like with all the discussion going around, in a way to be a slap in the face. But is there another venue that you guys would put the SEC championship at? That would be
No.
Okay.
Perfect here in
Yep.
Atlanta.
I agree.
I've not seen the new Nashville stadium, but to Dunaway's point, I feel like it's a little too small.
Yeah. Jalen Milrose, a finalist for the Manning Award, one of 10 quarterbacks there. Nick Saban saying Jace McClellan's not doing a lot, so we do not expect him to play coming up this weekend. My words, not his. He's just saying he's not doing a lot. Kirby says he doesn't know yet about Bowers, McConkey, Robert Thomas, or Tate Rutledge. Bowers and McConkey, you got to think is going to play in this one, Lance. Let's do 4 downs. It's brought to you by our great friends at Slice.
Yeah, just an incredible pizza brand created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get in, see Jason and Chris. 4 locations, the original in Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
More passing touchdowns tonight in Vegas. Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix?
I feel like I'm kind of with you, Lance. I think Oregon wins this game, and I think there's a chance they win it going away. That means Penix is going to be throwing a lot more. I got a feeling, just my gut feeling, which is frequently wrong. Oregon wins this game, and this is Bo Nix's Heisman moment tonight. This will be the night on the stage that Oregon wins, and Bo Nix also wins the Heisman.
Sorry, Dunaway.
No, go ahead.
I agree completely with you, Brown. I think that this is going to be Oregon's push for Bo Nix to potentially secure the Heisman campaign. I think this is the night to do it, and I don't know if Washington can handle another close game.
Yeah, I agree that it'll be a tie in passing touchdowns because you said passing. Penix with 3, Nix with 3, but then Nix will run 1 in, and Bucky Irving will run 2 in for the Ducks.
That's very
and they
specific.
win by 3 touchdowns.
All right, like the game's already been played, Lance. You don't even have to watch it.
Yeah,
tonight.
we've been waiting for Bad Bo, but as he goes into his 60th career start, Bad Bo hadn't showed up. Now Washington, you look at this secondary, 15 picks on the year. They're 9th in the FBS in that category. So this is a ball hawking secondary. With all that said, I'm going to lean Penix. I think the total touchdowns will even out about the same. I think there is a better supporting cast when you talk about the backfield offensive line for Oregon right now. But I don't think we're going to see Bad Bo. I just don't know if it happens this year.
Second down.
More total touchdowns tomorrow. Brock Bowers or Roydell Williams?
Oh, I've got an answer on this one. It's going to be Brock Bowers. I'll go 2 with Bowers, and I'll go 0 with Roydell Williams.
Interesting.
Well, boy, I guess you got Georgia winning the game.
It's going to be a hard match for Bama at that point.
I do have Georgia winning 34-31 would be my pick, but you get down to the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, you're pushing Milroe in, passing touchdowns, things like that. Get Alabama touchdowns. Maybe a Terrion Arnold pick 6. Like he almost projected on the show.
I think I'm going to say Alabama actually defends Bowers pretty well. He's going to get his catches. He's going to get his yards, but they're going to limit the yard after catch and be a little more physical with him than most teams would be. So I'll actually say Bowers gets shut out. So I'll give Roydell Williams 1 and Bowers gets shut out of the end zone.
I'm going to go Brock Bowers will have more. I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1. Hey, Jam Miller, breakaway runner. He's got the deep ball threat of any of the people in the backfield there. Maybe a big game from Jim Miller running the football as well for Alabama.
Third down.
It is a sad state that I'm asking this question, but tomorrow night in Indianapolis, bigger number, Iowa points or Iowa penalties?
I'll go Iowa penalties. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think points could easily be 3-7. And I mean, penalties anymore, you get 8-9 penalties. That's not that big a deal.
Yeah. I would say, EG, that if he'd have said more punts or points, I would have gone easily punts.
Yeah.
I think they're a well-coached team, so not a ton of penalties. So I will take still penalties.
Oh, still penalties.
Yeah, but maybe like 6-3 in that
well,
one.
Here,
but punts will be like 9-3 LT.
Yeah. Lance, though, I'm looking right here. They only average 3.3 penalties per game.
Yeah, well-coached team.
Yeah.
They don't move a lot.
But, hey, that's still going to be tight, the fact that they just average 3 penalties a game. I don't know what the right answer is.
I don't really know either, but penalties?
Yeah, I mean, I think penalties, your safe play here, Lance. If this were in Vegas, that's probably your favorite, would you think?
Yeah, I would play penalties. I could see a shutout here.
Fourth down.
One of the funniest men to ever walk the planet, Richard Pryor, would have been 83 years old today. If I asked you the better career for a Richard Pryor or Richard Gere?
Not fair to me. I'm a huge Richard Pryor fan. This is going to date me. There was a time you could buy albums of comedians, and I had an album of Richard Pryor. Maybe actually it was a cassette tape too at one point. But Richard Pryor, they used to put those things out before they were streaming in Netflix series and HBO specials and stuff. But it was just the funniest stuff. And some of it, sadly, about his own life and his drug addiction. I remember a bit he did about being on fire one time when he had to recover from those burns in the hospital. But Richard Pryor to me was the GOAT of what I think of when I think of stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Do you know who either one of these people
I
are?
know who Richard Gere is because of Pretty Woman.
Okay. I mean, Lance laughing at that. I mean, Lance, Officer and a Gentleman, his most known role, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Primal Fear. Richard Gere has had a hell of a career. And he was up for some other big roles. American Gigolo was really big back in 1980. He's had a hell of a career. I would go Richard Pryor here. It's funny you bring up those albums because I remember how filthy they were. And I think it was the Delirious tour from Eddie Murphy. And Bill Cosby went on record and talked about, I just don't know why these comedians like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy have to use this bad language. And this is a guy that was out roofing and raping chicks.
That's what you call cover right there.
Wow.
I'm just going to cover for myself.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. That's Slice's 4 downs today. Still to come in the final hour, we'll talk to Mike Griffith, who covers the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs. You see him on the SEC network all the time. He will join us in the final hour as we get ready for the SEC championship coming up, being brought to you by, of course, the great folks right there at Wayne's. Pest-free holidays can be yours. Just go to callwaynes.com. Also by our friends at roback.com. Promo code TNR20. Get your 20% off your purchase there. roback.com. Promo code TNR20. And also by our friends at southernrubbertire.com. southernrubbertire.com. Downtown, locally owned for all your automotive needs, and name brand tires right there with Southern Rubber Tire, southernrubbertire.com. SEC coverage continues from Atlanta when we come back right here on TNR.
Now at 205-734-0923.
This hour brought to you by Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear, the perfect place for all your holiday shopping. We are easy to find just off of I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. Just look for the big red building.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies. Get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
There are so many things I love about Walk-Ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-Ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 in Hoover with Walk-Ons.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at Hydra Live Therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, and boost your immune system, and more. If you mention the Next Round at checkout, save 20% off any service. You can join the IV League today. Members are rewarded with deep discounts. Make sure you ask about that. Hydra Life Therapy open 7 days a week. Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone. Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090. hemphillservices.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
This hour brought to you by Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling and the crew ready to get you ready to watch the championship games this weekend. Tonight and tomorrow, just swing by there and pick up the hand-cut chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta tamales, and so much more. Champy'sChicken.com. One regular season meeting, 2 SEC championship game meetings, and 2 national championship game meetings. It's Kirby Smart and Nick Saban again here in Atlanta.
Mike Griffith covers Georgia and the SEC. He's just a couple doors over as we're here at the College Football Hall of Fame doing the show. Mike over there talking to the coaches and the players and the SEC network personnel. He joins us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Mike? How are you today?
Doing well, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. Let's start with the health of some key Georgia players. I know talking to you, you were actually at the Iron Bowl. We were talking to you in the Jordan Hare press box, and you had already gotten word that Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey and several other Georgia players were going to rest. Do you think that is a precautionary rest, or are they still banged up enough that it will impact them in this game?
You know, hard to say. I think we'll see Brock. It's just hard to say how limited it'll be. I mean, everybody heals at a different clip, and that tightrope surgery still, relatively new. He is a fast healer, obviously. He played 26 days after having it. I think Tua was 27 days after he had his. So I think you'll see Bowers. We'll see how effective he is. I don't know about Ladd. Ankle sprains are, tough to gauge, especially for an explosive player like that. I mean, make no mistake about it. I mean, he's their dude on the perimeter. I mean, you got to have speed like that, game-changing speed. I think he's ranked as the number 4 or 5 receiver in the NFL draft. He's very, very important to the Georgia offense. That's a really big injury to kind of keep an eye on. I don't know about Ra Thomas. Ra was the guy coming on at that X spot when Adonai Mitchell transferred to Texas. Ra was the guy brought in from Mississippi State. Dominic Lovett is a go. That's the guy they brought in from Missouri. He's more of a slot guy. So it's kind of wait and see. And then Tate Ratledge, you don't, offensive guards, maybe not the sexiest position to talk about, but when we talk about this Alabama interior defensive line, they're so good at shedding blocks, and that's going to be so much of a matchup within the matchup to see what happens on the offensive and defensive line.
Come on, Mike. We're on the internet. There's somebody out there with an offensive guard fetish that enjoys talking about offensive guards. Mike Griffith is with us, man. You've covered the SEC for a long time. 2021, everybody keeps going back to that. Alabama's scared at Auburn. Yeah. They come in. Everyone's thinking Georgia's going to roll the tide and Bama wins the game. Our buddy Charles Barkley's on the show earlier, and he says, yeah, but Georgia already knew they were in the playoffs. They didn't have to win that game. They may have to win this one. Do you feel like Georgia has to win this one to be in? And do you sense a different mindset from the Dogs in this one?
Well, it's a different team, and it has to be a different health. I mean, I know there were some Georgia guys that were ill that game, and the heat really bothered them in that game. And the fact that they hadn't been there in a while, and Alabama had, and geez, the way Bryce Young played that game, I mean, Bryce was spectacular. I don't know who could have beat Bryce Young that night. As good as he was that night, the Georgia defense rallied in Indianapolis, and personnel issues, just like we're talking about Georgia personnel now, we were talking about Alabama personnel then. But I think it's a fair comparison because Alabama didn't look good in the Iron Bowl, and I was at that one too. And I was one of those people who said, man, if they barely got by Auburn, Georgia is just going to just roll right in here, and that didn't happen. Stetson Bennett made a lot of mistakes. I think Carson's a different kind of quarterback. So you trade a little bit of Stetson's mobility for a better arm talent and probably a better processor than Stetson was in 2021. 2022 version of Stetson was better because he'd been in the system under Monken a couple of years, and they designed the offense around him, and he was actually the starting quarterback during the offseason for the first time. But Beck is very polished. I mean, Beck is a prolific pocket guy, an incredibly fast processor, can solve Rubik's Cube in under a minute, just to give you an idea about the mind power there and how quick this guy is with his decision making. And that's what it takes when you look at all the ways Alabama puts pressure on you. Carson's done a good job calling protection, recognition, obviously pattern recognition big. So I kind of feel like Alabama with Milroe is the high ceiling team. I was just talking with Peter Burns and Chris Doring, and they're asking, well, what do you think is going to happen? I said, well, anything from Jalen Milroe scores 4 touchdowns and is now in the Heisman race to Jalen Milroe fumbles twice and throws an interception and Bama loses by 3 touchdowns. Anything in between there, which is to say anything can happen. And a lot of this is on Jalen Milroe. I mean, this is why you come to Alabama to be a quarterback. And if you're a dual threat like he is, you've got that ability to affect the game. And yet against Auburn, there were a couple times he threw from in front of the line of scrimmage. And I don't know. You guys watched him all year long. I think he's a fantastic prospect. I think he probably might even go pro and be a first-round pick. I mean, he's just such a dynamic player.
Mike, I want to talk about first-round picks, quarterbacks, that whole discussion. Carson Beck is now being negotiated with from UGA to stick around another year at Georgia. What do you make of that, as well as how much success players are having with NIL deals right now?
Everybody's being negotiated with. Every player on every team that's got an option to go pro is being negotiated with, has been negotiated with. Guys, I'll be honest, I go back to 2020 Alabama and those, 5 or 6 seniors they had that came back. There was some type of negotiation with somebody. I can tell you that. I know Georgia wishes DeAndre Swift and Jake Fromm would have come back for a senior year, but, Bama had Mac Jones and Devontae and Najee. I digress. There's always a negotiation. Everything, what do they say? Everything's negotiable. It's just now we're talking about it. And some people get a little uncomfortable. Like some longtime college fans are like, you know what? I don't like this. I don't want this. Well, too late. And by the way, it's been this way for a long time. Jimbo Fisher told us that there was NIL before. Remember when he said there was NIL before NIL? I don't think he was just kidding around.
Mike Griffith covers Georgia and the SEC for Dog Nation, part of AJC. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Griffith32, at Mike Griffith32. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline as we continue for the College Football Hall of Fame next to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. If you got Kirby to be honest about this and not just give a press conference answer, how much does his record against Nick Saban bother him?
I don't think it does right now. I'm sure there's times when there's not much going on and he might think about it. It might piss him off, but he's locked into this game, man. I mean, look, this guy doesn't – he recognizes, just like Saban does, there's only so much capacity in your brain, and, you know, you need to make all your actions move toward the direction of cause. There's no time to waste thinking or fretting or regretting because it has no effect on this game. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, fans, it does because it's their bragging rights and all that. But for Kirby, he's in the moment, and he doesn't spend a whole lot of time looking in the rearview mirror. I mean, there's time to reflect on games and look at game film and see what you can correct. There's times to, reference past conversations with players who may be entering the portal. I mean, but for the most part, Kirby's, very self-directed towards winning championships. And I just don't know what that any sort of thought or emotion directed towards that. I don't know how that would help him.
Yeah, he's on a 1-game win streak against Nick and a 2 national championship win streak. No need to think about that. I want to ask you just how impactful. I thought it was a great time from Greg Sankey in the SEC to announce yesterday that this game is staying in Atlanta through at least 2031, maybe through 2036, because I don't know about you, but there were a lot of people who were thinking, well, here comes Texas and Oklahoma, and Texas is going to throw some weight around and some money around, and eventually we'll play this game in Arlington or somewhere. Not the case. Greg Sankey stuck this SEC flag down and said, we're going to keep doing it the way we've been doing it.
Yeah, I like that, and I'm sure that a lot of those people went to Sankey and said, hey, let's get this done, because I'm sure there is a fear factor of Texas and Oklahoma, and because we saw what they did in the Big 12 and how they affected that conference, and you got to be wary of that, right? So I think it's a great move. I like the game being in Atlanta. Atlanta does feel like the metropole of the South. When it was in Birmingham and it first started, I like that because, I consider, Birmingham and Alabama, obviously the heart of Dixie, and SEC headquarters being there. It's a cool town, but it doesn't have a facility like this. And Mercedes-Benz Stadium is fantastic. I mean, it really is. It's an incredible facility. I've been to Jerry World. I've been to all these stadiums. And to me, I think Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the best. I like the hotel scene downtown, proximity. I like the hotel prices. Like, they keep shoving Nashville down our throats, and I don't want that. I mean, my gosh, that city is an unfinished product, and it's nothing like it used to be. And yet we have to go there for basketball every year. And I get it. I understand why. A lot of people, for fans, but I don't know, man. Atlanta to me is built for this. There's so many graduates from all the different programs in Atlanta, and it doesn't really feel like a home field advantage for Georgia because so many Alabama fans travel and do such a great job with it. So I think that was great news. I appreciated that. And, obviously everything Sankey does, it's really hard to second guess the guy. I think he's done a fantastic job.
I would ask you though, Mike, as you go here, do you think that contract is through 2031, and we don't know what a world with a 12-team playoff is going to be like just yet, but there are a lot of people that think a 12-team playoff will spell doom for conference championship games. They just don't make sense in that world. Are you in that category of people? And from the people you talk to in administrations throughout the SEC, do you feel that they feel that way?
It's really hard to say because we don't even know, like you said, we don't know what the landscape's going to look like. Is it still going to be a 14 or a 16-team league by then, or is it going to be a 24-team league? Is it going to be a 32-team league? I like the conference championship game. I know Kirby talked about that passionately yesterday, that as long as he's at Georgia, the conference championship game is going to matter. it's sort of a de facto playoff game already if you think about it. And if you lose it, it's not necessarily a death sentence that you're out. If we're talking about a 12-team playoff with the caliber of ball that's played in the SEC, so I like it. I don't think it's ever going to be as meaningless as the SEC basketball tournament. If that is the direction that you're going, I think it's really there is an automatic berth at stake, but with the SEC basketball now as good as that's gotten, it's not like the SEC struggling to get their 6 or 7 team in anymore because they've done such a great job dressing up their basketball programs and hiring good coaches, right? So no, I think it's always going to be around, and I like that Commissioner Sankey spoke glowingly of Roy Kramer. That's somebody that I've just, believe me, I'm not sacrilegious, but I kind of consider Roy like football god. Like that to me is the godfather, and I really, a part of me loves Roy Kramer. Because when I started out, covering college football, he was the answer man, and everything that Roy Kramer did in the 1990s, if you think about it, the SEC was not as definitively on top as it is right now. And Roy Kramer, the moves he made with the divisions, going against the flow, some coaches didn't like it, Spurrier and Stallings among them, and the move that he was able to make, getting the Big Ten and Pac-12 to, buy into this BCS concept so that we could have a unified champion in '98, it was just sheer genius. The man was an absolute genius, and on top of it, he was a fabulous leader. And we're so blessed that Commissioner Kramer is still with us, and it was so nice to hear Sankey reference him yesterday. So when we talk about conference championship games, it's obviously near and dear to my heart because that's about the time I started covering the league in '93 on that Auburn beat. So I sure hope it doesn't go away. Selfishly, I'll lobby to keep it. I think it kind of works as a de facto playoff right now.
He is Mike Griffith. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike Griffith32, Dog Nation, part of AJC, where he covers the entire Southeastern Conference and Georgia as well. Mike, thank you very much for the time. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Should be a great game.
Yeah, it should be. Thank you, Mike, for talking about it with us. Mike with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I think one of the problems is, and this actually, the 12-team playoff solves this problem, is it is not a de facto playing game for every conference now, right?
Right.
Like, that is not the truth in the ACC championship game. It is not the truth, certainly in the Big Ten championship game. It is this year in the Pac-12 championship game, but it hasn't been in years past. It is not the truth in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, Oklahoma, to your point, Oklahoma State wins, they're not in.
That's right. And all too often it has been in the SEC, but it wouldn't have been in the other conferences. So while all these are kind of de facto playoff games, they're not level field playoff games either.
But they are next year.
They are next year because it literally is a play-in game. But that said, I mean, well, see, next year the Big Ten championship would be a Michigan-Ohio State rematch.
It would be, but Oklahoma State and Texas would be playing under the Big 12 rules.
Yeah.
Because they don't have divisions.
Yeah.
So it would be this, and Oklahoma State with 3 losses could be in.
Could be as a winner,
And no divisions this year. It is Oregon and Washington. That winner would be in.
And so this new playoff is going to fix the imbalance of the way those conference championship games are played. Right. You're not going to get a Michigan-Iowa conference championship game anymore.
You're not.
Those things are going to die.
And as you said earlier, it would be Alabama and Texas this year. But next year it would be Florida State and Louisville. Those are the two no divisions. So there's 3 with no divisions. That's the way it's going to look. And they would be play-in games next year. So you just got to get ready to stomach that there may be an upset where I can't score with anybody but my wife, Iowa, and Oklahoma State that could win their way in. Right. Yeah. So that's, you got to stomach that kind of stuff. LT's back with us for Trash coming up. A couple more things to get to here in this segment after I tell you our friends at Hemp Hill bring you part of the show for all your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs. Trust the name Birmingham's trusted since 1954. That's Hemp Hill Services. They'll do a check right now on your heat system to make sure you're ready for the cold temperatures that are coming down the holiday season. 205-229-2090, 229-2090, or just remember the name Hemp Hill right there. Couple of things. Jack State's 3rd win in a row in basketball. They beat South Alabama last night. Did your daughter call you? And did y'all make a side bet?
No and no. No, I'm not even sure she was aware the game was being played.
She was. I DM'd her the night before, and I said, just a heads up.
All right.
AK, tomorrow night, your school plays your dad's school.
Right.
Maybe better a little Diet Coke on it. Okay. But I guess you raised her not to wager.
I guess so, because she did not even bring it up. And I FaceTimed with her the night before. So In fact, to show you how dialed in she is on sports, she texted me this morning and said, "Why are you and Jim in Atlanta?"
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Dialed right in on this thing.
Yeah,
right?
my wife did the same thing at 4 in the morning. Why the hell are you up at 4 in the morning? We're leaving to go to Atlanta. Sanford got their first win over Louisiana. UAB's in action tonight, 7 o'clock at Bartow. Auburn and Boone, North Carolina, playing App State tomorrow at noon. That's in basketball news. And I wanted to bring this up to you guys. The Rangers, the Texas Rangers, won the World Series.
Okay.
And if you don't know how the way baseball works, they take their ticket receipts of the postseason all across Major League Baseball. They pull it together, and then if you win the World Series, you get a certain amount of money and all that on down the line. $38.8 million from ticket receipts Major League Baseball was given to the Rangers, to which they divvy up in the organization. There are 64 full shares, which I think were hundreds of thousands of dollars for the players, the managers, some of the front office people. Yeah. 12 partial shares, which you get maybe a quarter or a half if you were with the team a little bit. But all the way down to even the person that cleans the toilets in the Rangers organization gets a check. The smallest check they hand out is $48,000.
Are you kidding
That's
me?
right. So even if
the lowest paid employee in
the
the
lowest
organization.
paid employee in the Rangers organization got a $48,000 check a few weeks ago.
I mean, there's a chance that doubled their salary.
Yeah.
Tripled the salary in some cases, it said.
Change your life.
Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah, kitchen workers, clubhouse workers,
Well, that's really
people
cool.
that clean.
That's really cool.
And that's something they do in Major League Baseball with the ticket receipts. And you say, well, that's really cool. The owners do that. Well, the ticket receipts, they only take 40% of the ticket receipts and divide it up in the revenue from the postseason. The owners keep 60% of it. But
so
they,
even
but
at 40%, still the lowest one got $48,000.
Yeah,
even at 40%.
and still, I mean, it's ticket receipts, postseason revenue, and all that for the postseason. $38.8 million, the Rangers part they got for winning, and it goes on down your participation in the playoffs. So everyone in the organization is obviously cheering for you to win the World Series.
Well, there's no doubt. This is a good way to make sure everybody's behind you.
Hey, do you want a championship ring or a $48,000 check?
48 Gs.
I'll take the check.
Do they also? I think they also get rings.
I think you can also get rings or pendants if you choose to do that. It's really neat.
I'm sure they'll back that right out of the 48,000.
And I'm not saying this to say this just the Rangers. I'm sure the Braves did it, and every organization does it this way, right?
Yeah. So I actually met someone over the summer, and he works the grounds crew with the Braves in the 90s. And he said that when they won the World Series and they did all those division championships, he got a ring each time. So he has a collection, and he kept getting paid out. But why he stepped out was because he said having a family and raising kids and being a grounds crew member.
Those guys
every
they're,
night.
They're 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's not like they show up like you do in
No.
Little League and drag the field and let's go. They're there at sunrise,
Yeah.
getting the field ready for the game every day. It's like farming. It's a nonstop job. All right. When we come back, LT will join us for trash, and you'll hear that soundbite from Hey Coach last night that all spurned from a question Lance asked Terrion Arnold. The show is being brought to you, all of our coverage, both here on the live shows, including tomorrow morning's pregame show at 9 a.m. and our postgame show tomorrow right after the game and the field right there at the SEC Championship turf, are all brought to you by our friends at Wayne's. A pest-free holiday can be yours if you go to callwaynes.com, callwaynes.com, and save $50 off the reoccurring services. Also by our friends at Southern Rubber Tire Company, southernrubbertire.com, the website. Bryant Gilmer and the gang there ready to take care of you, locally owned for 50 years, right downtown for all your automotive needs. And by the wonderful folks at Roback, roback.com. I'm going to go with one of my oh, you got one on.
I do.
I'm wearing one of my Roback quarter zips. I would go hoodie, but I don't have one of those.
I got even a Roback polo under the Roback quarter zip.
I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm double Roback tomorrow.
They don't make underwear, so I won't show them underwear.
Yep. I'll be honest with you. I almost was thinking about wearing identically what I wore last week to the Iron Bowl because it ended up being good luck for Alabama.
Oh my goodness.
But I am going to go double Roback tomorrow at the game. You can get 20% off your purchase. TNR20 is the promo code at roback.com. Roback.com. Trash is next from the College Football Hall of Fame. This is the next round.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
This holiday season, give the gift of peace and security to your home with $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services. As the weather cools down, stop mice, bed bugs, and rodents before they come in. Call 866-WAYNES-1 to gift yourself a safe and pest-free home. Sign up for any recurring service with Wayne's and save $50 off. Don't let mice and rats be uninvited guests to your holiday celebrations. Get a pest-free holiday and save $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control Services when you call 866-WAYNES-1.
Looking for the perfect gift for everyone on your Christmas list? This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store, and I invite you to do your Christmas shopping at the New Balance Birmingham store. Everyone needs new shoes this time of year, and they'll want stylish shoes that fit perfectly. At New Balance Birmingham, you'll find the largest selection and inventory for a specialty shoe store. We have every size from extra wide to extra narrow. Shop the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A.
What would happen if Santa came down your chimney and discovered fire damage in your home? What if he came down the chimney and discovered a wet floor? Santa's elves can't clean it up. You would have a lot of unhappy children Christmas morning. If that happens, contact DryTech Water Restoration immediately and make sure your children have a Merry Christmas. DryTech can clean up the mess and get in touch with your insurance company. Call DryTech 205-637-0143 and make sure your holidays are safe and happy. Happy holidays to all from DryTech Water Restoration.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention next round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
Back with you at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, and we've had a chance. SEC Media Days was here a couple of years ago. I've toured it before. I know you guys have been walking around a lot in commercial breaks around here. It really is such a special place, and if you get a chance before the game tomorrow, as you come over here, come hang out, or maybe throughout the next year in 2024, just come by and enjoy the College Football Hall of Fame. Lance Reed joins us now for Trash coming up in a second. LT, tell us about our friends at Bromberg's, and we'll go to the diamond moment of the day.
There we go. Hey, it's the holiday season. If you're thinking about popping the question this holiday season, you need to go to the Diamond Specialist. That is our friends at Bromberg's, locally owned, family owned since 1836. The Diamond Specialist, 2 locations, Mountain Brook and the Summit. Nothing like giving or getting that silver box, and you can shop their vast inventory right now. Go to brombergs.com for more information.
Okay, you remember interviewing Terrion Arnold, right, Lance, where you started asking him questions about
how well does he know his coach?
How well does he know Nick Saban? You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah. Did he ever bust the accordion out?
We don't know.
Wait.
We forgot to follow up.
Rockstar Cut 3 last night. Lauren Sisler, friend of the show on ESPN, she saw that interview with Terrion Arnold on the next round. So she brought up us and that question to Nick Saban on Hey Coach, and this is how it sounded.
One of your guys, Terrion Arnold, was on the next round with Jim Dunaway in the gang, and learned that during high school, or I guess growing up, you used to play the accordion.
Yeah.
I want to hear how this all came about. Why the accordion?
Yeah.
And would you consider yourself to be pretty good at it?
Well, it wasn't my choice. Start with that. So the why part, I had nothing to do with.
Okay.
You know, Grandma Saban came from the old country. All right, so everybody, all the grandkids, her kids, everybody had to learn how to play the accordion because it was Polka City, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
But one of the reasons that I got involved in sports when I was 9 years old, because I started playing the accordion when I was 9.
Okay.
And I hated it. I mean, I hated to go to the lessons. I hated to practice, and she made me practice every day. So what I really figured out was the only way I could get out of practicing accordion was if I had baseball practice, football practice, basketball practice, some kind of practice.
Okay.
So I started playing everything when I was 9, just to get out of playing the accordion. All right, so that's the facts. That's the fact of the matter. But I could play, but I didn't have any choice, and I didn't choose it. So it wasn't that. There's no why in it. It was just that's what everybody did. So that's my answer. And you know, Terrion Arnold's getting too much information.
He told me he was going to.
There you go, Lance. It's your fault.
Right there on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. My instant follow-up, and maybe Lauren did it, Lance, would be, well, do you own one today, right?
Yeah. I next time, hopefully we'll have Terry on next week. And, we need to follow up and ask him if he asked about that at the Thanksgiving dinner. You could, I mean, obviously he hated that.
Oh.
So funny.
You can hear it in his voice.
How much
She
racket,
made me
though, with
practice it
everybody.
every day.
Can you imagine a whole family playing that?
Oh,
it's polka. Did he say I grew up in polka country?
Polka country.
Yeah. Polka country.
She did.
No, she did. She came from the old country. Yeah. So,
What's amazing is we have an accordion to thank for one of the greatest college football coaches of all time.
You never know. Like if they wanted to play the guitar, he might have been a Beatle.
Yeah. You never know.
Could have been a hippie, right?
Could have been a hippie.
I'm sure. Guy's going to have success, whatever he did.
He could have actually been in the Eagles instead of listened to the Eagles, Lance. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. All right, Lance, it's time for trash. Brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit the big button, rock star. Let's do it.
I was in the bathroom taking a shave, and I heard a screeching, between a screech and a whistle. I said, what in the world is this? And I heard a boom.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it and someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Visit their locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. You can apply, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. I've got Offbeat holidays in December. It starts today. Friday, December 1st is Bartender Appreciation Day. Tip them well.
Tip them well.
Yeah. What is your standard barkeep tip there, Lance?
Well, it depends. Like if I go up, let's say that we're at a crowded bar and I order a couple of beers, and I usually give them $2. You know, if I've got a tab running at the end of the night, probably 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you're ordering, let's see, what looks hard to make? A mojito and a really good old-fashioned.
I think you should tip more on that, just for the fact that they are working their asses off, and you're kind of dicking everybody behind you in line if it's really busy.
Lance, Saturday, Dunaway and I went to Acre in Auburn prior to the Iron Bowl.
Of course we did.
So jealous.
Well, I mean, EG had to work. Sorry. Yeah, EG had to work. So, Lance, we go there. So we sit at the bar so we can watch Michigan, Ohio State. And somebody ordered a Bloody Mary. And I guarantee you they built Jordan Hare quicker than that girl could make that Bloody Mary.
Oh, it looked so good, though.
It looked great, Lance. But those things, I mean, especially when they do those specialty ones.
Yeah, put bacon and okra and cheese cubes. Yeah. Just give me a Bloody Mary. I don't need a meal. Okay, Friday, a week from today, is National Brownie Day. I think Dunaway and I agree the edge of the brownie, the crisp part, is the best.
Oh, can we guess Brownie and EG here?
Oh, I know Brownie likes
what about EG?
Brownie likes the moist, gooey brownie. I think EG is probably moist and brownie too. Or
I'm
she
gonna
likes
say
the
she's
gooey
a
too.
center too. Yeah.
No, I'm a crunchy.
Burn edge.
You're an edge.
Yeah, I'm an edge.
What
Corner.
about Rockstar? He deals with texture issues in food. Rockstar, are you center brownie or burn edge brownie?
Center brownie, ice cream, scoop of vanilla. Scoop of vanilla.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hot brownie,
vanilla
Coke
ice cream. No, you don't need to jack it up. Just vanilla
ice cream
on the side of that. Oh, so good.
So Friday, December 15th is National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. I'm sure 1 million people will have an ugly sweater Christmas party that day. But that's
Are we going to do it?
2 weeks. We can. We've done it the last couple of years,
Yeah.
right?
What day is it?
The 15th. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 2 weeks from today.
So that'll be 2 days after we call the SEC basketball game on the network.
That's right.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
Ugly Sweater Day.
Everybody make note. Ugly Sweater Day, Ugly Christmas Sweater Day coming up Friday the 15th.
Hey, you know what? I don't think much is expected of us now that we got announced that we're doing this game. Greg from Pell City's hanging out in studio. He's like, I heard of the announcement. What exactly are you guys doing? And for Sankey to drop, we're going to do the schedule drop the same night. I think we need to go ugly sweater that night for the broadcast.
See if anybody notices, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm a lad.
Yeah, we could just all dress up like Anchorman characters.
Hey,
you could be the who is the female, the talented blonde in the movie from Anchorman. LT, what's her name?
I've seen it one time, and
Veronica Corningstone, I think.
Yeah, Veronica Corningstone. I think Brownie would be the weatherman.
Is he the one that I love Lamp?
I love Lamp.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
I would be the typical sportscaster, and you could be Ron Burgundy. We'd all dress up with that big hairy mustache. That'd be great.
Hey, what was the month you went to Butterfly Gap?
It was in springtime. I think it was April or May.
Because Saturday, December 16th is National Chocolate Covered Anything Day.
Oh,
we had a chocolate covered Dunaway at one point.
Hey, you can celebrate in April, I'm told.
Monday, December 18th is National Roast Suckling Pig Day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I knew that. I didn't know these were offbeat holidays. I didn't know it was a normal holiday.
I had that yesterday.
This one's really dumb. Thursday, December 21st, don't make your bed day. You need to make your bed every single day.
Yeah, I don't, though, Lance. I don't at the Brown House. All right. Do you, Lance, and I think I can't remember if you were on this Mystery Fifth Hour or not. No, you were not. I think it was the one where we gave dating advice. Do you make it decorative pillows and everything, or you just pull the covers up where the pillows go?
I do the decorative pillows.
Yeah. See, the Brown House.
Hey, and this is full admission. I told you who taught me how to make a bed, right? Jack Taylor. Yeah.
For those that know Jack's Lance's son.
Hey, look, full disclosure, my ex Bethany was a great stay-at-home mom, and she did all the chores around the home. She did all the shopping, paid all the bills. I just never made a bed. And Jack, she taught him how to, and he's like militant. His bed making is incredible, and I'm not exaggerating. It is one of those where you could bounce the quarter off of it. The sheets are tight. It's just perfect. I don't do it like that. It's pretty much a cover-up, but I will put the cosmetic pillows on the top.
Okay.
And then finally, Saturday, December 30th. Brown, I know you're not a big fan. It's Bacon Day. EG, do you like bacon?
I take it or leave it.
Yeah. See, I think EG's probably like me. Bacon as an accessory is fine.
But in stuff, no.
But I like it like on a bacon cheeseburger. Cool with it.
Yeah.
Bacon bits on a salad. Fine with that. Bacon as a flavoring. Fine with that. It's when it is my primary protein that I object to it.
Like eggs, bacon, and a pancake.
Nope. I do not want bacon being my primary protein.
It's weird.
I need something more than bacon.
I was going to say.
I don't like it mixed in. Sorry, Lance.
No, I was just going to say real quick, I like bacon breakfast-wise, but if I order a burger or a sandwich and it comes with bacon, I get it without the bacon.
Even a club? Like a club sandwich?
Now the club at Hamburger Heaven, I'll go with what they've got.
Yeah. Well, I introduced a friend to the club at Hamburger Heaven, and he's going like every other day now.
Addictive.
He had never had it. He hasn't lived in Birmingham his whole life. He had never had it. And I'm telling you, he goes all the time and gets it.
So good.
So the Ohio Supreme Court suspended an attorney who defecated into a Pringles potato chip can, then tossed it into the parking lot of a crime victim advocacy center. Criminal defense attorney
just one.
Jack Blakesley's conduct called into question his fitness to practice law, the court decided. Now, Blakely's defense, quote, he said he didn't target anyone, but has a bad habit of putting his feces in Pringles cans and randomly throwing them from the car.
That is a bad habit. I would agree.
I mean, that means it's a pattern. So where to get the reports?
Now, the court didn't buy it, Brown.
There are times where I regret things I say on the show here, and I'm going to regret this one later on, Lance. I've actually done this before.
No,
Into a Pringles can?
Into a Pringles can. Did not throw it at anyone, but it was a payback. Yeah. I hate to say this. Yeah.
Oh my God, you shouldn't have Pringles can. Wait,
I did. Yeah.
We got to stop the show real quick. Now, what was it? Was it a bet? Was it a dare?
No, it was a payback. It was a payback on behalf of someone, and it was hidden in a room. I was a much younger person at this time, and was not, not mature as I am now.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a heck of a payback right there.
That'll teach you to fail Brown in Spanish at Jack State, won't it?
Yeah, you
no bueno.
You got to have good aim, my friend. I'm glad you didn't eat Mexican before.
Not really good aim. It's just a good setup. You got to have a good plan.
Yeah, we needed a plan on that.
Anyway, his practice, he's been suspended for 1 year from practicing law. So fans of Liquid Death's Armless Palmer drink will be surprised to know its name has now been changed to Dead Billionaire. Now, according to an Instagram post, Liquid Death switched the name up to avoid a lawsuit from the Arnold Palmer estate over the use of the word Palmer. Now, as the caption states, Dead Billionaire is the same exact tea lemonade beverage as Armless Palmer, so fans shouldn't worry about the name change affecting the taste whatsoever. As for the availability of the new Dead Billionaire, Liquid Death shared it on Instagram. Their caption was, "Our new Dead Billionaire cans have started to trickle out on Amazon and will begin hitting retail shelves in the spring." I know you're a fan of this flavor, Brown.
I like Arnold Palmer. It's what I drink at the house. I have never had a Liquid Death. I think I see Lunsford drink them frequently.
He does.
Isn't it just water?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think it's really expensive.
Water. Lance,
It's a Arnold Palmer.
yeah, Lance, have you had one?
I have not.
Yeah, I think I see Lunsford drink them.
Yeah, he does.
I think the purpose is to hold something that potentially looks like alcohol in a setting, and you're not going to really be questioned over it. That's, I think, the backstory.
So Lunsford's just fronting? He just wants to look like he's drinking alcohol?
Well,
I thought it was part of it's reusable, the metal, so we don't flood the oceans with the bottles.
I think, and that may be true. I always heard that it looks like it could be alcohol. So if you're in a setting where you don't want to drink, you can hold a Liquid Death, and it looks like it's.
Oh, I need to start doing that.
Well, cat out of the bag now.
Somebody can't hold their liquor.
Hey, Subway is introducing a new foot-long cookie. In early 2024, Subway will be offering foot-long chocolate chip cookies as a permanent menu item. Customers will soon be able to get 12-inch versions of the chain's most popular cookie at restaurant locations nationwide.
It's not going to smell like their bread, is it?
You don't like the smell of their bread?
Subway's bread? No, I do not.
Interesting.
No, Subway's just, it's okay, but their bread has a weird smell. It's kind of funky.
Oh, so you don't like it either?
Uh-uh.
Well, I like the smell of a Subway when you walk in. Back when I was in college at Jack State, I ate at Subway all the time, and their white chocolate macadamia used to be legit. What are you laughing at?
I had my 4th birthday party at
a Subway?
No, you did not.
Wow.
Was this before the sock enterprise blew up?
But I wanted, my parents were like, okay, little Emily Grace, where do you want to have your birthday party? And I said Subway. And so my mom calls up there and she's like, okay, so we want to have a party.
Never had this request before.
They literally we don't care. Just set up. And it was a Lilo and Stitch themed Subway birthday party.
That is the shock. I didn't think you could top Brown shitting in a Pringles can, but I think you just did. That is the most unexpected thing I've heard today.
That a cylinder full of poop would be the second saddest story on the
4-year-old birthday party at Subway, Lilo and Stitch cake.
Okay, we'll end on this
no
one.
offense to your mom, but she should have stepped in and said, "You're 4, you don't really know what you're saying.
No,
Let's go to the zoo."
This is the thing. I remember the birthday party, and because it was the one I wanted.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we've got a Chinese man barely managed to get off his smart toilet with his ass intact after smoke started coming out of the toilet bowl and the whole thing burst into flames. Rocky, do we have footage of this?
We do. We have a picture, but the slogan said Wang Chung needs to use a Pringles can.
Hey, why would you need a smart toilet, right?
Obviously not
What,
now.
what makes it
smart?
Wow.
I don't know. The incident occurred November 10th while the man was using the toilet. At first, there was a smell of smoke. Then white smoke started billowing from the toilet bowl. Finally, just as the man got up from the toilet, smart toilet burst into flames. Cause of the incident has not been revealed, but the owner suspects that a short circuit sparked the fire. Boy, he doesn't get up. That's a problem.
That is.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Never have to worry about grooming anymore, though.
Yeah.
I would say this. Chances are he went down the street. A local Mexican restaurant had a burrito named Chernobyl.
Yeah. Rockstar, you broke up a little bit. Were you explaining to us what a smart toilet does? Why do we need a smart toilet?
A smart toilet, from what I understand, it's a Japanese thing. I think it's one of those things where you can set the temperature for the toilet seat. I'm sure it's got Wi-Fi. There's just stupid stuff on the toilet, like water temperature, stuff to shoot up your woohoo to clean it, like a bidet.
Hey, Rocky, did you see the movie? I forgot. It's James Franco, Bryan Cranston. Anyway, Franco is this dude that is hit it in tech, and
I guess who's coming to dinner, or is coming like that?
Yeah, something like that. But Bryan Cranston gets on his smart toilet, and it's got all these different features. That's the only time I've seen anything like that.
Why him?
Why him?
Why him?
It's actually got some funny parts.
Go ahead, LT.
It's got some funny parts, but overall, it's a terrible movie.
Didn't mean to step on you there. I apologize. That's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Tell us about Mortgage Right again.
Yeah, let our friends at Mortgage Right help get your financial house in order with locations in Birmingham and Leeds. Mortgage Right offers a variety of loan products, fast and free pre-approvals, and reliable hands assistance that will help you take advantage of all available home buying and refinance options. With Mortgage Right, no middleman. You can trust that your files will never leave their office. 2 locations, Highway 280 in Birmingham, Parkway Drive in Leeds. For more information, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And this hour of the show brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Man, some hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and that southern brine deep fried chicken. All sounds so good right now as we are in the lunch hour over here in Atlanta, Georgia. They don't have the Sterling's Champy's here, but you can go there today, Highway 119 in Alabaster. When we come back, we'll roll through all the championship games this weekend one more time. Remember our pregame show from outside of Mercedes-Benz. No, it's actually from here at the College Football Hall of Fame again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time, because it's going to rain outside again tomorrow, dummy. Jim, back inside thanks to the great folks here at the College Football Hall of Fame tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Make sure you make plans to join us. We're back in a moment.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Stop unwanted guests. Save $50 from our friends at Wayne's right now. Call 866-WAYNES-1 this holiday season. Give the gift of peace and security to your home and family with a $50 off recurring Wayne's Pest Control services. Keep your celebrations joyful and free of unwanted critters this holiday and beyond. At Wayne's Pest Control, we don't just promise short-term fixes. We promise year-round protection for your home, keeping your family, children, and pets safe. Again, call 866-WAYNES-1 today. That's 866-WAYNES-1.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round with a question for you. Are you on the bandwagon yet? Bandwagon wants to invite you to one of their 3 retail locations in Birmingham for all your holiday shopping. Bandwagon has the top brands in sporting goods, athleisure, and lifestyle apparel. You can check your entire family off the list at Bandwagon with brands like Task, Bird Dog, and Varley, plus the best in sports equipment. Visit the Bandwagon locations in Cahaba Heights, Homewood, and Trussville, or online, bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon. Tom Luganville here for Jack's Western and Outdoor Wear. For great holiday shopping for the whole family, this place is a must. Jack's carries all the name brands in boots, hats, and apparel, including the Kynes Ranch brand, as seen on Yellowstone. You might not look like Kevin Costner, but you can dress like him. Jack's also has the only Ariat shop within a shop in the state of Alabama. Come see us every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Just look for the big red building off I-65, exit 304 in Coleman.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Looking for the perfect gift for everyone on your Christmas list? This is Wes McClooney, owner of the New Balance Birmingham store, and I invite you to do your Christmas shopping at the New Balance Birmingham store. Everyone needs new shoes this time of year, and they'll want stylish shoes that fit perfectly. At New Balance Birmingham, you'll find the largest selection and inventory for a specialty shoe store. We have every size from extra wide to extra narrow. Shop the New Balance Birmingham store on Highway 280 next to Chick-fil-A.
Final segment from here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, on a not Chamber of Commerce day where it is drizzly, rainy, and temperatures around 60 degrees. But Bama and Georgia fans are making their way into town for another showdown in the SEC championship game tomorrow over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Our coverage all weekend long being brought to you by a couple of great folks. The folks at Wayne's for a pest-free holiday. Save $50 on reoccurring costs by going to callwaynes.com. Also by our friends at Roback. Roback.com, promo code TNR20 gets you 20% off the entire website there. So Roback.com, TNR20 is the promo code. And LT by our friends at Southern Rubber Tire.
Yeah, again, got to catch up with our friends, Bryant Gilmer, his gang there. You can go see them, locally owned and operated for over 50 years. They're located in downtown Birmingham under that big Michelin sign next to Highway 65 on 6th Avenue North. Let them take care of all your automotive service needs. Financing is available. They carry all major brands of tires. Get in, see Bryant and the gang. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, you can always go online, southernrubbertire.com.
A little bit of a sad story here. Hopefully can get a little better. I don't know all the details here, obviously, but Fresno State's just announced that Jeff Tedford is stepping away due to health concerns, and does not say permanently stepping away, but they've named an interim coach in his absence and are offering up thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery for Jeff Tedford. So I don't know what the future on that is. Lance, he's done a really good job over his career. Was a winning coach at Cal, which you don't see those every day. And has done a pretty solid job at Fresno State after that.
I think he's a hell of a coach. He's just a great offensive mind. He's quarterbacked some of the all-time great college quarterbacks. You know, you go back to that year, it was 2004, and I really believed if you would have had a 14 playoff back then, I know they had 2 losses, but one of those was in the Holiday Bowl. Going in, they were 10-1. They would have been in the 14 playoff. Their only loss was a shootout to USC, and Aaron Rodgers was unbelievable. I'll never forget, I was in Lexington for Alabama, Kentucky, and I was in an RV setting, and we could not get that game on, California, USC. So I did Gamecast, and I was just updating, and Aaron Rodgers completely lit them up, and they ended up losing the game, but that was their only loss in the regular season.
Was it where Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch, and Deshaun Jackson, were they all on the same team at one time?
Yes.
I don't know if Marshawn was.
Yeah, I think Marshawn came a little later, but Aaron and Deshaun Jackson were.
Yeah.
I think they were all on the same team, but when they were good and Aaron was the quarterback, I think Marshawn had moved on.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, just think about these Tedford years. His first year, 7-5. I remember them upsetting Kansas State right off the bat. 8-6, 10-2, 8-4, 10-3, 7-6, 9-4, 8-5. I mean, that's at Cal.
Yeah, they'd kill for that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so our thoughts and prayers with him. Back to the football news at hand. The championship games coming up this weekend. Tonight, Oregon and Washington, 7 o'clock on ABC, where Oregon is virtually a double-digit favor all week on this one. LT will have plays on most of these games or sides or totals or whatever at lanceslock.com. But give me one thing you're looking at, LT, on what could determine a winner in this game. What will you watch early on in the game to see if it's going right for this team?
Well, Michael Penix, and you heard Todd Ferman talk about the inaccuracies over the last few weeks and kind of the struggles of Washington. But when big moments come up, he makes big plays. And Michael Penix needs a big night to become a Heisman finalist. And this is pretty crazy. He would become just the second ever Husky Heisman finalist. You guys know who the other Washington finalist was?
Oh, Billy Joe Hobart.
When I tell you guys, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to go. Was it the guy that the Titans drafted? What was his name? Defensive back? No, the
Jake
quarterback
Locker.
the Titans drafted out of Washington. What was his name?
Jake
Why
Locker.
can I say his name?
Jake Locker.
Jake Locker. Yeah, was he a Heisman finalist?
He was not. It was Steve Ettman from 1991, the defensive lineman. And he was an incredible college player.
Just wore the big neck roll, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. So Bo Nix leads the FBS. I think we talked about this earlier, passing yards, completion percentage, but Washington is ninth right now with 18 picks. They're ball hawking, so if they're able to turn Bo Nix over, Penix plays his best football, they've got a shot. I just think Oregon a little bit too good right now.
Do you think Bo Nix can win the Heisman Trophy if they win tonight?
I think it sets him up for really good success, but as Lance called it last night, it needs to be run it up weekend.
Yeah, but I don't know when Lance. I don't know if Lance has voted yet. Have you voted yet, Lance?
No, I'm going to wait. I don't think there's any reason to vote yet. I'm going to wait until Sunday morning.
And see, I think a lot of voters do what Lance did. I have no problem with that. You should vote on everything you have seen up to that point. But Bo Nix is going, if he can play well tonight, he's going to get the advantage of being the last candidate to speak.
Well, it's between two guys for me. I mean, you guys know who it is, and I'm not supposed to say this on the air, but it's obvious. It's between two guys, and I will be watching every snap tonight.
Every snap. Should be a fun game with Herb Street and Fowler on the call, 7 o'clock on ABC.
Can I bring up one thing, Dunaway, that I wanted to ask you about mass? Because I just wanted to give you guys a scenario, and you tell me what happens, okay?
All right.
Okay, mass chaos.
So Georgia wins, not mass chaos. Okay. Washington wins tonight. Florida State loses. Texas loses. Michigan loses. Who are your four teams?
I think Michigan is still in because that brings up a Michigan-Ohio State. There's zero chance.
Right.
You could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say in that situation, it is Georgia, Washington, Michigan, and Ohio State.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine? I mean, that is the ultimate chaotic way this thing could finish. Now, look, I mean, I could see Washington win. I could see Florida State lose and Texas lose. I can't see Iowa winning. But if that all happened,
that's the tough one.
That's the other side of the chaos.
Yeah, I can't see them losing either. Couple of just notes here on just where Alabama, they're bringing some dudes into this game. Second in the SEC in solo tackles behind only Debo Williams of South Carolina is Caleb Downs, the freshman. 60 solo tackles in there. Sack leaders, Nathaniel Watson of Mississippi State's got 10 this year. James Pierce has 8.5. Chris Braswell has 8. And Dallas Turner has 8. So tied for third in sacks, couple of Alabama guys.
And it's easy to overlook a guard being out, but when Mike Griffith was talking about the injury on the offensive line at Georgia there, that could play a huge role in Alabama's ability to pressure Carson back and get him off platform a little bit.
And as LT knows, Jaden Daniels leads the SEC in passing yards. What normally would be leading the SEC in passing yards is first-year starter Carson Beck with 3,495 yards passing. A big gap between him and Jaden Daniels at the top, but Beck's had a hell of a year, LT.
Oh, he has. He's been fantastic. Again, I think overall more talented than what you got with Stetson Bennett. Didn't have the experience, maybe not the leadership yet, but I got to throw this out there. Nick Saban, we know he's the greatest of all time. Including his time at LSU, he is 10-1 all-time in SEC championship games. He's 7-0 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Alabama has won 16 straight games in Atlanta. Their last loss in Atlanta was to Tim Tebow in 2008, and Nick Saban is 8-3 all-time against number one ranked teams. I mean, if that ain't the greatest ever, I don't know who is.
Wow, I mean, that's an incredible set of statistics there.
Yeah, and you have to remember what Tebow did in that fourth quarter of that SEC championship game in 2008 just to get them to win in that game.
That was a remarkable,
unbelievable fourth quarter for him to eventually go on and win a national championship there. I hope the game lives up to the billing tomorrow. Do you think it will, LT, or do you think Georgia can pull away and blow them out?
I mean, look, if Georgia plays their best football and Alabama plays like they did last week and, penalties get in the way, massive penalties, then, yeah, Georgia can win by double digits. I've got a feeling that Alabama is going to come to play. I think they believe they can win this game, and this is the first time I think Georgia's really going to get tested. So I think we're in for a hell of a game.
I would agree with Lance. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I am not surprised by either outcome. Obviously, Georgia's the favorite, so them winning wouldn't surprise me. But I don't think anybody in the country is surprised if Alabama wins this game. That's the Alabama brand, and I think they know these two teams are built a lot alike, even though one of them might have started a little bit slower and had to catch the other one, tortoise and hare a little bit.
I think Alabama's reputation precedes them in games like this, and this is, in my opinion, a perfect setup for them. There's not a ton of expectations on this team. I think that's where they want it because it's nose to the grindstone. Your boy, Zach Bryan, on that one.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
Thank you. But I think that I could see Jalen getting in a groove, but I think the key for Georgia is to get him out of sync. Get Jalen on his toes.
More wins in Atlanta since 2008, Georgia Tech or Alabama?
Oh,
more wins?
Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna say Alabama.
The fact that I grown thinking Lance was asking me a trick question speaks volumes about where Georgia Tech football has fallen.
Yeah. It's a good way to end the show, LT. That's hilarious. That's it. College Football Hall of Fame today. We're all with you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. As Zach Bryan would sing, maybe we're going to Revival tomorrow as well. A little Alabama and Georgia over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Thank you to the College Football Hall of Fame. Again, if you get time while you're here for the game, come by and see this beautiful facility a couple blocks over from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
For Talk of Champions here on the Roll Tide Pods. That's Tyler Watts. We're getting ready for the SEC Championship game. And as always, Talk of Champions is brought to you by the Watts Agency.
Love an opportunity to talk to you. I sell insurance during the course of the week. That's what we do. We have fun on the weekend. We have fun here during this show. But during the week, we help people out, saving them not only money, but also frustration in the event of a claim. So please give us a call. Look us up on the website, 205-822-5477 or TylerWattsInsurance.com for all your home, auto, and commercial needs.
Before we go to Atlanta, let's talk about what happened down at Jordan-Hare Stadium at the Iron Bowl. At the end, when Alabama looked like it was timing out perfectly, it's 1st and 7, and then a sequence of run play, losing a yard, bad snap, illegal forward pass, and it's 4th and 31. About anything that could go wrong went wrong, and then that play happened.
Yeah,
Nick Saban says they practice it all the time. Go ahead.
I actually wanted to back up and even set the precedent and have a little Wayne's World to take you back. First two possessions, Auburn has the ball. They can do absolutely nothing. Can't complete a pass, can't run for any yardage at the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden, after Dupree gets that holding call in the 4th and 1 that erases what would have been a 14-0 lead, all of a sudden Auburn came alive, started dominating the line of scrimmage, found some things that were working with Peyton Thorne, as well as the running backs on the edge, hit a couple of passes where they caught Alabama looking in the backfield versus taking, watching over the wide receivers, and all of a sudden they're in the football game, as you mentioned. So that all led up to it. And then what I thought happened, especially late in the 3rd quarter, and that fan base really got involved. And I'm telling you what, there's just something different about that place when that fan base becomes a part of the game that truly is that 7 to 10 point home field advantage that I always talk about. But yeah, leading down into the 4th quarter, even with 6 minutes, 5.5, 6 minutes to go, Alabama gets the football. And I said on air, I said, all right, it's time, Jalen Milroe, for you to access your inner Greg McElroy. We need a 5.5 minute game-winning touchdown drive right here, and we go 3 and out. I think Jermaine Burton had the pass that maybe it was in, maybe it was out, but we're forced to punt the ball, as you mentioned, with 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go in the ball game. And you're thinking, well, you got 3 timeouts in your pocket. But the frustrating thing is at that time, One first down probably ends the game.
It's over with.
Yeah. So thank goodness got the muff punt, able to scoop it up, take it down to the 7-yard line. And as you mentioned, that's when the wheels started to fall off. Something that has happened all season long with the errant snaps, premature, actually occurred twice in that ball game. Unfortunately for Alabama, on the first time though, Jalen Milroe was able to take it and hit a 6-yard completion. But here, backing yourself up, and then the third illegal pass in the game, which I hadn't seen it in 15 years, and we saw it 3 times. Now all of a sudden you find yourself in a really bad spot. Yeah, they talk about practicing that, and I'm sure that they do, but it was still just an incredible play. They probably couldn't replicate it if they had to. Auburn, there's no way that they wouldn't defend that better if they ever are in that situation again. And it's probably a lesson for all defensive units across the country of how to properly play the last play of a football game.
Yeah, and what is that? What's the proper way?
Keep your eyes in the backfield and, quite honestly, get after the quarterback.
Well, if I keep my eye in the backfield, don't I lose the receiver at that point?
It doesn't matter, especially with that big of a cushion. There's enough time and space. That ball has to travel, and it's going to take time, regardless of who's throwing it. You're going to have an opportunity to react, especially when you have 7 or 8 defenders sitting around the goal line. But I think the biggest takeaway is this, is I don't think you'll see another defensive coordinator rush to probably 3 at the most, but they'll probably even get lighter and try to find some ways. Because if you force the quarterback to move more or get rid of the football quicker, that play can't develop.
That's right. You got to get it out early. But I wanted to talk because I think Alabama fans are interested in this. We've all seen that play, so that's history now. Moving forward, let's go first on what Auburn did to run the football for over 200 yards, 244 against Alabama. That makes me think, okay, how can this team stop Georgia's running game? I was told that maybe Auburn was doing things that Alabama hadn't seen on tape before. Right. Talk to me a little bit about what Auburn did running the ball that you may not see Georgia do, or maybe Georgia will put that wrinkle in.
They may to a certain extent, but neither one of these offenses that are lining up Saturday want to have their running back acting like, their quarterback acting like a running back. They don't want to run him 10, 15 times on design runs. They want it to occur naturally. Beck as well as Milroe are both very capable runners when things break down, and they can take advantage of a defense with their backs to them. They're going to pick up positive yardage in those situations, but they don't want to run them the way that Auburn was. It was very reminiscent of what Gus Malzahn did in his first year down at Auburn. With those guys, they found the inside run. So you have it's basically an option play where you have a speed sweep guy, so you have to account for him, or you're going to get beat on the edge. Then you have the quarterback riding the running back, which is going in opposite direction. So now all of a sudden you're being stressed defensively on where your eyes are supposed to be. You're attacking 3 different sides of the offensive line, and then the quarterback simply was reading middle linebackers to see if they were flowing. If they were not flowing, they were staying in the middle. They had us flanked by handing the ball off. If we did flow, they did a good job of opening up holes for Peyton Thorne to be able to run up the middle. Yeah. So it's an option style of play.
So you won't see Georgia do that?
No, I don't think so. They're a much different offensive style, and I think that they're very comfortable with what they do. They want to run the ball between the tackles, try to dominate up front. They're very good at it, by the way. And then incorporate their tight ends a lot in the short passing game and the play action off of that.
I was surprised, though, because Alabama's defensive line had been so good this year. And they've been so good at just, against the pass rush, but also against the run. And I felt like they outsized Auburn's offensive line, but they were able to move them out of the way to create some holes. Were they doing something different blocking?
I don't really know about blocking schemes, but I understand numbers.
Right.
I understand you try to isolate a certain area and you try to put pressure on that defense. We always talk about that. There are a lot of guys talking about creating an extra gap that a defense cannot plug with their defender. And Auburn did a really good job of doing that. They were creating holes up front, not necessarily at a point of attack, like what you used to see in the 70s and 80s, but more so of zone-style schemes where we're trying to take advantage of what a defense is doing, create an extra hole that one linebacker has to figure out. Is he going to take option 1 or option 2? And he's wrong either way.
Another negative in this game was the open receivers. A couple of blown coverages, was it? Where, maybe miscommunication or just misreads, like Kool-Aid got beat one at least, if not twice. Somebody else got beat. A couple of wide open receivers. That's fearful going against a team that's got McConkey and Bowers.
But there's going to be a different point of emphasis. You can almost get lulled to sleep in the style of offense that Auburn was running because your eyes are constantly, they run the ball so effectively, you're having to come up and run support. That's really where your focus is. And quite honestly, you don't have a whole lot of respect for the receivers that you're going up against. That's not going to be the case this week. It's going to be those 7 are responsible for the run game. I'm responsible as a DB for the passing attack. So quite honestly, I think both these teams really match up well against each other. Very similar in styles, both offensively and defensively, what they do. And so there's a lot of preparation that's gone throughout the course of the season simply by practicing against yourself during the course of the week.
All right, Georgia coming up, SEC Championship. Let's get into that as Alabama heads to Atlanta again. Brought to you, the Talk of Champions is by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Go to the website there, and you get a 50% deposit bonus. 50% deposit, whatever amount you put in, add 50% to that, and you start playing with that money instantly. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Familiar foe in Georgia. And I want to start by this. And we asked Jalen Milroe on the next round this week this question. And I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, so many years together, so many ties with these two coaching staffs, that I feel like maybe Jalen, when he watches tape of Georgia's defensive schemes, maybe says, I've seen this before, that they play a lot of the same type of style of defensive schemes. Is that fair?
When you think about us being raised in our household, we often mimic those that we see throughout the course of our life. And it's understandable that Kirby Smart takes everything that he's learned from years and years of working with Nick Saban and simply applies it. Why? Because it was his at Alabama, quite honestly. He learned it, he knows that it works, and he wants to continue to do those things.
And it was successful.
That is also why it's so important for head coaches to every once in a while get new blood so that they're getting new ideas of what's going on around the country on their coaching staff. Different ideas in that meeting room, some wrinkles that they can apply, different things that they can do so they don't become so stagnant. These are all really good coaches. They're all well versed in X's and O's. They have a huge support staff on the analytical side that are helping them put game plans throughout the course of the season, breaking down field tendencies and things that they need to do. And there's a lot of tape on both of these teams right now. But back to your original point, yes, both of these teams, both of these offensive quarterbacks are going to look across the line of scrimmage and go, I see this every week. This is what I go against in practice.
Yeah, that's why for some reason, Tyler, I know with Smart and Muschamp and Schumann over there and Saban and Steele and T-Rob over here, that it's some of the best college football defensive minds that are out there, all in one place. But I have a feeling that this game is going to be like 38-34 in the 30s, because I feel like the quarterbacks are going to be so comfortable with what they're seeing on the other side of the ball.
Well, and I think offensively, especially at the skill position, they're talented enough to be able to put up big points. I think Alabama's going to have an opportunity for a lot of explosive plays in this, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Georgia does the same thing. They really do a good job of attacking the middle of the field because they have some weapons on the interior at the tight end position and slot receiver positions that can take advantage of safeties and linebackers. That's not a coverage that Alabama nor Georgia wants to be in. And Alabama has some threats on the outside. I think that it can take advantage of some of Georgia's DBs, especially on the corners. So there's going to be a lot of explosive plays, some chunk plays in this type of game. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I think the same thing. I think this very easily could be in the 30s or even 40s.
Oh, even the 40s. It reminds me of a great Clemson.
Even the 40s.
Even the 40s. Clemson, Alabama, national championship
and
type
you wouldn't
game.
think it with these two defenses.
You would not. You would not. But I think there's a comfort level of getting out of whatever huddle you have, or whatever the play call is, and looking over there saying, oh, I know what they're doing. Now we just got to execute it.
And very similar to that Clemson game, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was a very low-scoring game in the first half as they're trying to figure each other out. Adjustments are being made, and then all of a sudden, third and fourth quarter, when both Alabama and Georgia really turn the heat on their opponents, you start seeing more offensive productivity.
I think you agreed with this earlier, but I want to bring up that Roman Harper, who is on our show this week, the former Alabama DB, now with the SEC Network. He doesn't think this is a game you call design runs for Jalen Milroe. He says they should call 35 to 40 pass plays and let it just organically happen, him running the football.
I hadn't heard Roman Harper, but I wholeheartedly agree with him. I don't think you don't design plays like what Georgia Tech did with Haynes King. I think you allow it to organically occur. But you have to go in there with the mindset, and it has to be told to him, when they give you this 5-6 yards, take it.
Every time.
Every single time. Because when you do that, all this other stuff is going to be easier and become open quicker.
Yeah. You and I had a discussion at halftime down at Jordan Hare Stadium. 1, 2, 3, run. 1, 2, 3, run. Explain to what you were telling me at halftime. Explain to me what that rhythm is for Jalen Milroe right now. Why that's important.
You drop back, you're seeing what the defense is giving you. If your first and second readers are there, give them the ball. But if it's not, don't hold the ball for 5 and 6 seconds. Although your offensive line may be able to hold up for that long, that's not the style that you need to play, simply because you're not putting enough stress on the defensive unit. When those first 2 or 3 guys are not open and the defense has dropped back 10, 12 yards, you need to take advantage of that cushion with your legs and run the football. Because then that's going to force those guys to stay around the middle linebackers and the linebackers to stay around the line of scrimmage to prevent you, similar like they did on the last play with the spy. You take those guys out of it, and it opens up the passing routes. You get more one-on-one opportunities, and the receivers are going to be able to take advantage of that.
But how hard is it as a quarterback when you've had so many big plays downfield to not wait for that big play almost every time? How hard? I mean, it's got to be tempting.
Well, but that's two different things, because the big plays downfield a lot of times are drawn up. You're trying to go for a home run type of shot, and you're looking for a specific defense to go. And you know pretty quick when you drop back if it's going to develop and be there or not, because you're reading the safeties and where they are pre-snap and post-snap, and you're going to see if that's going to develop. I'm talking about more of the intermediate passing route game, to where you're running 10, 12-yard outs, and you run things across the middle crossers. That's the style of defense play that I'm talking about. When you see that 10-yard cushion, 8-yard cushion open up, or one defender in the middle of the field, and you can go either way, that's when I want to see him run the football.
Our friends at Roback bringing you part of the Talk of Champions today. Roback.com/TNR20. Even if you've bought from Roback before, you can take advantage of that 20% off through TNR in the entire site if you go to roback.com/TNR20. A great holiday gift coming up. Who doesn't love good gear, good hoodies, and great golf pants and golf shirts under the tree this holiday season? Roback.com/TNR20. Right there, you see the logo up in the corner. Roback.com/TNR20 for 20% off the entire site as you shop this holiday season. You talk about their offense, and I'm just so impressed with Carson Beck. Before he even started a game out there, I'd seen him enough in mop-up that I thought he was going to be good. But he's exceeded good, and he's approached great category as this season has grown on. He does a lot of things well. What do you think he does best?
He understands what is expected of him. He understands what Mike Bobo is trying to get out of him, and he understands defenses. He has a lot of weapons around him, quite honestly, too. Georgia is also, we want to run the football, but we want to be balanced. They're going to throw the ball down the field. A lot of weapons. He knows how to get them the ball, but most importantly, he understands defenses and immediately knows where to go with the football once he sees once the snap occurs, and he sees how a defense is going to unfold.
He seems to always throw it in the right place.
Yeah, and he throws a nice ball too. He very, very accurate passer, and he can put it in some tight windows as well. So it's going to be a huge challenge for the Alabama secondary.
They seem to have rested up McConkey and Bowers to have them both on the field. As they attack Alabama on Saturday in Atlanta. Let's go first with Ladd McConkey. And I asked this to Terrion Arnold this week. I'm like, dude, how does this guy always get open? You look across the line, he's like a 5'10.5" white guy, and yet he's out there. He gets open all the time. And he beats you deep sometimes. And he's a great route runner. He's got good hands. And sometimes he just surprises you with his speed. That's what Terrion says.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was a quarterback in high school, or at least had some quarterback play.
Always a great athlete.
Only from the standpoint of good wide receivers understand defenses. They understand what they're trying to do. They understand leverage. They understand positioning of the defender that they're going against. And they know how to set their route up against how the guy across from them is playing. Sometimes you go fast. Sometimes you go slow. You're able to set it up because you know what you're trying to accomplish. And even if the rhythm is off a little bit, it's not like the old days where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, throw the ball.
Right.
Things develop now because the schemes are so complex, and you kind of know where you want to go with the football. He does an excellent job of understanding spacing, understanding leverage, and he does know how to get open.
Yeah, and I will tell you, every Alabama fan who's watching this right now, in your mind, and he's caught a touchdown against Alabama before, but in your mind you're remembering Hunter Renfrow. The kid was always open against us. And you just think Ladd McConkey the same way. Now, Brock Bowers is a beast. To me, the key on Brock Bowers on Saturday is when he catches his balls that you tackle him instantly. Don't let that turn into a run after catch.
No, that's the most challenging thing with him, though, because he's a big wide receiver. It is what he is. He's an oversized slot receiver who does just enough good job inside blocking that you have to respect him with a bigger guy. But at the same time, when he gets on a linebacker and or a safety, that's a mismatch. And he's got great hands. He knows. It's kind of like Gronk. He knows how to go get the ball. And then he does an excellent job of keeping his balance because he does have big, strong legs, lower body. He's able to break through arm tackles. You have to gain tackle him and immediately get him to the ground as soon as he gets his hands on the ball, because if he turns and faces you, he's gonna pick up extra yardage.
Who's most likely to end up on him the most? I know they'll try to get him on a linebacker, and I think our linebackers do a pretty good job of covering. Will it be Malachi? Will it be Caleb? A combination of both?
A combination of everything, quite honestly. I think you're going to see sometimes where even Dallas Turner will probably be on a couple of occasions.
Right.
In certain defensive sets. So there's going to be a multitude of guys. You don't necessarily always want to play him man-to-man, because I think that's when he can do a majority of his damage.
That's where we use the great word bracket, right? You bracket him?
You could, but if you do that, there's enough weapons elsewhere to where you're going to get beat.
Okay.
So
I'll put that one back in my back pocket then, the way you rolled your eyes.
I talked about this last year with some former Georgia quarterbacks at the SEC Fan Fair. You feel like the entire offense should go through Brock Bowers. And to a certain extent it does, because even if he's not being targeted, every defense that lines up against him knows where he is and takes account of where he is.
It's basically why Steve Kerr was open his whole career, because Michael Jordan was on the floor.
There you go.
Yep, he was always open. I want to ask you about a couple of more Alabama things before we wrap this up. Talk of Champions brought to you by the Watts Agency.
Yeah, we would love an opportunity. It's a hectic world right now with inflationary, social inflation, all kinds of inflation going on. The price of everything continues to go up. We also see a huge need of people being undercovered, not properly covered on both their home and their auto. We want to protect you and your family. Give us a call at 205-822-5477 or TylerWattsInsurance.com.
Chase McClellan limited as we record this, doubtful for the game. We'll see when we get to Atlanta. But let's say Jace doesn't play. Rodell does a really good job of getting small and hitting holes. I love his game. And then there's more jam at that point, right?
I talked about this yesterday with some friends. This is the beauty of rotating your running backs throughout the course of the season. And Nick Saban, or Coach Saban, my mom gets upset with me, or my dad does when I don't call him Coach Saban. This is the beauty of what he does. Regardless of the situation of the game that you're in, he's going to play 3-4 guys. He doesn't care. He's
running
going
back
to play.
by committee, yep.
This is where it pays dividends, because you have running backs, true freshmen, who you feel comfortable coming in because they played in pressure situations, and you know that you can depend on them. So, yeah, Jan Miller is going to get more of an opportunity. I'm sure he would love that. All that is a glimpse into the future, because he is going to be the guy next year.
He's going to be the guy next year. Kirby Smart and Nick Saban again. It'll be played up in the media that Kirby's only beat him once, but it was a big one. It was a national championship game. Alabama has beaten Kirby for a national championship, so they're 1-1 in national championship games. But in the SEC championship, Nick hasn't lost to Georgia.
No, and outside of that one game with Bryce Young in 2021 in the SEC championship game, this has been a game that's gone 4 quarters.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate anything different. I think both these teams, like I said, I think they match up very evenly against each other. If you look at the stat line, total defense, total offense, points scored per game, first downs, all that stuff, rushing yards, passing yards, they're right there together. They're very similar football styles of what they do, although they are different. It's going to be and there's going to be a lot of talent out there on that field as well.
A lot of talent. Obviously, it's the talk of champions. So you know that I will speak for Tyler that if Alabama wins, we think they should be in the playoffs. You probably tuned in expecting me to say that. You probably did not tune in expecting me to say that if Alabama wins and Georgia loses, I think Georgia should still be in the college football playoffs. It's my opinion. I don't know what yours is, but that team has earned enough respect through 29 straight wins and 2 national champions that a loss in this extra game on their schedule shouldn't kick them out of the playoffs.
Perhaps it shouldn't, but at the same time, Alabama's been pretty good the last 3 years as well. And all their previous years' success is not factoring into where they're sitting at number 8. So regardless of what Georgia's done in the last 2 years, it has no precedent, nor should it, quite honestly, on this year. I'm like you. I think this should be a play-in game. I also understand and appreciate the fact that you cannot penalize a team that has gone undefeated.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, like Florida State.
Like Florida State.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend, but Alabama's got to do what Alabama's got to do first, and that's beat the team that's won 29 games in a row. He's Tyler Watts, and that's the Talk of Champions.